position players win divisions. And that's why the St. Louis Cardinals went out and got a guy who just kills the Phillies in this ballpark. Charlie Manuel, their manager, saying, why didn't they wait until Monday or Tuesday to get Matt Holliday? Because look what he did last night. Only 4 for 5 with a run scored and an RBI.
And the other question concerning the Phillies acquiring a player would be the big one. Roy Halladay up for grabs. And the question is, will the Phillies bring him in?
Well, that's why there's such intense interest in Roy Halladay, and there will be over the next 6 days. And the Phillies are looking really at postseason as opposed to the division.
2 big-time sluggers on display today. Ryan Howard of the Phillies, Albert Pujols of the Cardinals, as Fox Saturday Baseball. Coming your way in just a moment. And it's time to reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. Right now, let's take a look at the Cardinals starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun, and there you see protection for Albert Pujols and Matt Holliday batting cleanup, and Yadier Molina batting 8th behind the plate. Often, Tony La Russa has the pitcher batting 8th, and there is Rodrigo Lopez, 2-0, making his 4th start of the year, and he's done well as a spot starter. And Skip Schumacher stepping in, first batter of the game, and we're underway in Philadelphia, and the first pitch is slapped to shortstop. Jimmy Rollins handles it easily, and there's one away. And right now, here's the pitcher profile, brought to you by Sprint.
A bit of a play on words, Dick, because the Rodrigo Lopez has given the Phillies relief as a starter. The Phillies have won all 3 games. He must work inside, outside, stay out of the middle of the plate. And a lot of people think that Rodrigo is young. This is his 165th Major League start, so he's been around.
33-year-old Mexican in his 8th year in the big leagues. First with the Phils. Julio Lugo, the other new face who joined the Cardinals this week, takes strike 1. And Lugo, starting at second base last night, responded with a triple and a home run. acquired from the Red Sox for outfielder Chris Duncan, who was sent to AAA. And there's a drive hit to right center field, and it's going to drop in front of Shane Victorino. Big turn by Lugo, and he'll go back to first with a base hit.
Dick, had he taken that pitch, I was going to say, if he uses right field, honestly, if he uses right field, he's really going to help the Cardinals, because that's something he did not do with the Boston Red Sox. He tried to pull everything. I think Fenway Park hurt him a little bit, too Fenway conscious, but if he can take that outside pitch to right center field, he's going to help the Cardinals a lot playing either of the two middle infield positions.
And that brings up Albert Pujols. So sometimes change of venue will help a player, and maybe that'll be the case with Lugo, who we know did respond with the Tampa Bay Rays and has a World Series ring as well. So he has done it. Here is Pujols, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Albert, third in the league, hitting .327, leading in home runs with 34, and first in runs batted in with 90. And you have to go back to 1937. The last National Leaguer to hit for the Triple Crown was a Cardinal, Joe Medwick. And the last big leaguer overall was Carl Yastrzemski of the Red Sox in '67. Lugo held on by Ryan Howard. The 0-1 pitch, 1-1, the count to Pujols. And no one will be happier to have protection behind him in the lineup in the solid Matt Holliday, who was on deck, than Pujols.
Pujols and Tony La Russa.
Really has added tremendous depth. Faking but not going was Lugo, and the pitch, strike two, swung on and missed.
You look at this litany of categories leading the league: home runs, RBIs, runs, slugging percentage, and walks, and yet he's only hitting 158 with runners in scoring position. But when you think about it, if a man's on first with Pujols, he's in scoring position.
That's a good point. There's Matt Holliday, who is playing in his second game in a Cardinal uniform, and Tim pointed out how he responded dramatically in his debut. And stepping off the mound is Rodrigo Lopez. And Albert Pujols, you're right, has not done well with runners in scoring position and 2 out this year. And not that he's pressing, but trying to do everything for this club and maybe swinging at pitches he shouldn't swing at.
And that should be over with the Cardinals obtaining Matt Holliday.
And there's a fly ball to left field. It's handled by Ibanez, and there are 2 down. So Pujols is retired, and Matt Holliday coming up. And before the game, Ken Rosenthal had a chance to chat with the newest Cardinal.
I think anytime you hear you've been traded, you're a little bit surprised. Even though maybe you anticipate that something might happen. But I was excited to come to a team that's in first place, to an organization like the Cardinals that has a huge history in baseball, and a team that was fairly close to where I grew up. And so I think getting a chance to play on a team with players of this caliber, and get a chance to play with Albert Pujols, and get to play for an organization like the Cardinals, I was thrilled.
And Tony La Russa is saying that a lot of the players on the team very happy Holliday has joined the club, even though that would mean some fewer at-bats for some of those outfielders. So here is Matt Holliday, came over from the A's and starred at the Colorado Rockies before that. Those are his numbers with Oakland and St. Louis. The 4 hits last night tied a career high at a double and a stolen base. So the Cardinals appearing that they want to get it done this year. And there goes Lugo on the pitch, which is inside for a ball. And in at second with a stolen base is Julio Lugo. And the Cardinals, with 2 out, have a runner in scoring position.
Great jump by Lugo, and a bad pitch to handle by Carlos Ruiz. The ball up and into the right-handed batter. Too much to do for Ruiz. A strong throw, but too much to do to get the speed of Lugo.
Lugo doesn't have quite the base stealing finesse and ability that he had many years ago, but getting the good jump helped. Way ahead of that off-speed pitch is Holliday, and the count 2-1.
Yeah, but getting traded a couple of times makes you faster. I promise you. Good changeup from Lopez.
All of a sudden, you increase your speed a few miles per hour.
Oh, yes.
Rodrigo Lopez, who has been on the injured list, started the season at AAA this season. Pitch breaks outside. And it's 3-1 now to Holiday with Ryan Ludwig on deck for St. Louis. There is Ludwig, who has also been wielding a hot bat lately for the Cardinals. Cardinals winning last night 8-1. And a foul out of play, with the Cubs winning today 5-3, and coming over to chase it was Jason Worth, with the Cubs beating the Reds 5-3 today. The Cardinals have a 1-game lead over Chicago in the National League Central, a game and a half ahead of the Houston Astros, who are hanging in there pretty well. Milwaukee 3.5 behind, so a very tight NL Central going on.
Houston Astros, a big surprise there. Cecil Cooper and his staff doing a terrific job, and a team that has crept to within 1.5 of the National League Central.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Matt Holliday. Lugo with the lead at second, and he strikes out to end the inning. Cardinals get a hit, lead 1, don't score as the Phillies come up in the first. Starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Jimmy Rollins staging a major comeback, leading off. Shane Victorino batting second. Chase Utley hitting third, and the big slugger Ryan Howard fourth. Raul Ibanez batting fifth. Jason Worth hitting in the sixth position. Several players with 20 or more home runs already. Pedro Feliz is the third baseman batting seventh. The catcher is Carlos Ruiz, and Rodrigo Lopez, of course, on the mound, facing Kyle Loesch, who's making his third start since returning from a strained forearm that put him on the DL. And here is the pitcher's profile coming up in a moment, which will be brought to you by Sprint, as Jimmy Rollins, the switch hitter, is stepping in. Third baseman Mark DeRosa playing a few steps in, and the pitch is down low. Ball one. You
can see that left foot of Jimmy Rollins right on the line of the batter's box, and that's the one thing Charlie Manuel has been preaching to Jimmy all year. Stand a little closer to the plate.
And a line drive right at Schumacher.
And keep your swing short. And he did that then, but the one thing Charlie didn't talk about was his aim.
Right.
Aim it a little right or left to the second baseman.
Charlie is thinking that right now.
Right. Jimmy, one other thing, your aim.
hard hit off of Loesch. And Jimmy Rollins, really his surge has mirrored the Philadelphia Phillies, who have won 15 of their last 18 games. Here's another switch hitter, Shane Victorino, taking a strike from Loesch. Victorino hitting .311 with 6 homers and 43 runs batted in. And the pitch, 1 ball and 1 strike to Victorino.
Dick, I think maybe more than any other leadoff hitter in baseball does Jimmy Rollins' success mirror the Phillies' success.
And that was certainly the case. Rollins has been on a tear, hitting .380 since he had his career-long drought of 0 for 28 at the plate. But Rollins has come back. This is a team that can hit. And there is a slow hit bounding ball past Loesch. Going to be tough, and no throw by DeRosa as Victorino beats out an infield hit.
Not a lot you can do as a third baseman. DeRosa trying to barehand the ball, and no play on the speedy Victorino.
So let's take a look at the sprint pitcher profile for the 30-year-old right-hander Kyle Loesch.
Kyle Loesch, formerly with the Phillies. In fact, the Phillies offered him a huge contract, 3-year deal at $21 million. He turned it down, signed with the Cardinals. His problem this year, control on the edges, and he has had a lot of luck with the first 3 Phillies. Rollins, Victorino, and Utley coming into this game only 7 for 44 career.
It changes a little bit when Ryan Howard comes to the plate as Utley takes inside for ball 1. Chase Utley hitting .299, 21 homers, 67 runs batted in, as Utley, Howard, Ibanez, and Worth in succession all have at least 20 home runs. But Utley has been in a slump as of late, only 2 for 20 since the start of this current homestand, which began Monday. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And it's down low, 2 balls and no strikes.
"20 home runs or more for the Phillies." There are only 10 players in the National League that have 20 or more home runs. The Phillies have 4 of them.
And Utley with 21. He's averaged 29 home runs the last 4 seasons, so it's nothing new for him. Ryan Howard is on deck. And another pitch inside. 2 balls and no strikes to Utley.
One thing that experience teaches you as a major league hitter, how do you protect the outside part of the plate? And nobody does it better than Chase Utley. That's why he's up on the plate. That's why he gets hit so much. Franchise record, 97 times he's been hit by pitches.
And again, leading the league this year with 14 times that he has been hit. 3 balls and no strikes to Utley. And there's a strike, 3-1. We mentioned the Phillies have won 15 out of 18 games. They have dropped 2 out of 3 after winning 10 in a row, and that was their longest winning streak since 1991. The streak was snapped Wednesday against the Cubs, and there you see Utley in the back of that batter's box. NL East fills up 5.5 over Atlanta and Florida coming into today's play.
Yeah, you might say, well, why is that the case, that a hitter is more concerned about the outside part of the plate? The reason for that is that's where most pitchers go to get you out most of the time. So if you're going to be a good big league hitter, you're going to have to get the part of the plate that is the outside part of the plate.
Ball 4, and that was way outside, so Utley draws the walk. Victorino moves to second. And the Phillies have something going against Kyle Loesch in the first inning. Runners at first and second, 1 out, and here's Ryan Howard coming to the plate. So here's Howard, who is tied for third with 70 runs batted in, and tied for fifth with 24 home runs. And against Loesch, he is a healthy 4 for 9 with a home run. Phillies trying to jump on the Cardinals and attempt to even this series at 1 apiece. Outfield playing deep and around to the right, and a breaking ball in for a strike. Back on May 4th in the 5th inning of their game, Ryan Howard, how about this 428-foot grand slam home run to right center field off of Kyle Loesch. And of course, Ryan Howard Second of the season, 7th grand slam of the year, and the Phillies won that game 6-1. Here's the 0-1. In there for a strike. Good pitch by Loesch there.
2 pitches on the inside part of the plate. If you're a pitcher who does not have this pitch, the tailing fastball coming in on Ryan Howard, you're in trouble, because Howard loves the ball out over the plate.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. 2 runners on for the Phillies. Breaking ball away, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, we talked about the Phillies, who are first in runs in the National League, first in home runs. But the 3 and 4 hitters, Utley and Howard, have hit a combined 2 homers in the last 17 games. So there's been a little bit of a drought there with some of their power people. Victorino is the runner at second, Utley with the lead at first. And the ground ball foul past Davey Lopes, the first base Phillies coach. And it remains 1-2. And of course, last night the Phillies 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position last night. Two and 2. Phillies have struggled at home. They come into the game with a .500 record, 25 and 25. At one point, they were 9 games under the .500 mark. And off the end of the bat foul, and it's still 2 and 2. To me, you wonder how you explain a team, especially a good team, world championship team, having as much trouble as they've had, especially earlier in the year here.
I know how Charlie Manuel explains it. That early in the season, they had other things on their mind. You know, a broader list of things to do. And sometimes for a world championship team, that's easily understood. Got more requests from charities, more requests from the community.
2-2 pitch, curveball, strike 3. Good breaking pitch. And that handcuffed Ryan Howard, who goes down for the second out of the inning and the first strikeout for Lou.
Yeah, you may remember the first 2 pitches that were inside on the inside corner. And that kind of sets it up later for the breaking ball. Ryan thought it was too high. Kind of a delayed call by Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, but it looked like a strike.
So with 2 down and 2 on for the Phillies, here's Raul Ibanez, the left fielder, hitting .304. And his 25 homers are good for, tied for second in the league. And there's a breaking ball in for a strike. Ibanez has 6 hits against Loesch in his career, but 3 of them have been home runs.
To expand on that a little bit about why the Phillies had a tough start at home was, you know, most of those requests come at home, and the road can be like a respite of rest for you. And you get away from some of the requests, some of the commitments, some of the requirements that it takes from being world champions.
Jimmy Rollins had a rough early start, as we know. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs. And stepping off the rubber is Loesch. And now when you look at it, the American League champion, Tampa Bay Rays, also experienced problems earlier in the season. And now they're starting to get their footing. They're 6.5 games behind the Yankees. Now 6. The Yankees lost today as Ibanez gets a piece of it, fouls it at the plate. And the count remains 1-2. But the Phillies are 12-3 at home. But they, in the month of July, but have lost 2 of their last 3 games. So it was the early season bugaboo for the Phils right here at Citizens Bank Park. 2 down and runners at first and second for the Phillies. 1-2 and down low. Stopped by Molina, and the count even at 2-2.
He is extraordinary. Molina, he does not have great foot speed, but he has great speed behind the plate with his feet. Reason plays like that are so good. You do not anticipate the fastball being in the dirt. It takes strictly reactions. With the breaking ball, you're going down with it. That was a fastball he blocked then.
Quickness more than sheer speed.
Yeah, right.
Just missing outside, and the count is full. And with it 3-2 with 2 out, the runners will be off on the pitch.
The backdoor breaking ball missing to Ibanez.
So Shane Victorino, who was safe on an infield hit, and Utley, who had walked. Ready to run. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and it's lined into center field for a base hit. Victorino will score. Utley will go to third, and the Phillies take a 1-0 lead on a single by Raul Ibanez, his 71st run batted in of the year.
Remember we talked earlier about Chase Utley in the outside part of the plate and how, as much as any other hitter in the major leagues, handles that outside. This is a changeup on the outside part of the plate, and look at the stroke by Ibanez. Joe Torre, the manager of the Dodgers, used to have a line. He said, with 2 strikes, never let a pitcher get you out on the outside part of the plate, which means you're vulnerable inside, but you can't protect both sides. But that was a fine piece of hitting by Raul Ibanez.
And the Phillies leading 1-0, have runners at first and third. 2 down, and here's Jason Worth, and he looks at a breaking pitch outside. So Ibanez, who missed 21 games with his groin injury, came back on July 11th and hasn't been himself, and hoping to get back into the form that got him to be an all-star left fielder. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's 2-0 now to Worth. Here's Jason Worth, and what kind of injuries he's had. Broken left wrist in 05, wrist surgery in 06. Phillies took a chance on him, and when he arrived in Philadelphia, he handed Charlie Manuel a highlight video of his best games with the Dodgers to say, I should be a regular.
Yeah.
And now he is. And a check swing breaking pitch is in for the strike, and it's 2-1 to Worth.
Yeah, at that time before that meeting, he was being platooned with Jeff Jenkins in the outfield, and Jason said, Charlie, I think I should play every day. And Charlie said, if we give you a chance, you got to produce immediately, and he did.
And it's now 3-1 to Worth. 1 pitch away from loading them up. Pedro Feliz is on deck, and already 28 pitches thrown by Kyle Loesch. Loesch coming in with a 4-6 record, making his 13th start of the year. As a complete game and a shutout to his credit. And that pitch is a call strike as Worth started to make the move to first, and the count now is full.
Strike on the outside part, and that's a good pitch. Jason thought it was outside or low, but it was neither.
So 3-2 with 2 down, and the runner at first is off, but it's ball 4, and Worth. Second walk issued by Loesch will load him up for Pedro Feliz here in the first inning. Phillies already with a run in, and pitching coach Dave Duncan quickly going to the mound.
Mentioned the Phillies in July. The Cardinals starters had the best earned run average in baseball in July. Can't say enough about Dave Duncan and the job that that tandem of La Russa and Duncan have done over the years.
And there is Joel Pinheiro, who even his record at 9-9 with the victory yesterday. Adam Wainwright, 11-6, has had a terrific season, and of course Chris Carpenter leads the way. And there you see the Cardinals starters and where they've been, and let's not forget Ryan Franklin and what he has meant as a closer, when no one was considering him to be the Cardinal closer in spring training.
That's right. Cardinals tied Seattle last year with the most blown saves, 31 blown saves. Not this year, not with Franklin.
Here's Pedro Feliz. And a check swing taking ball 1. Feliz dangerous with the bases loaded, hitting .357 with 8 runs batted in. And that's what the Phillies have with 2 down. Already 1 run in the bottom of the first. That's on the inside corner, evens the count 1-1. This is only the fourth game that these teams have played this year. In fact, only playing 5 games.
Yeah, it's odd.
An odd season series. And a call strike on the fastball. And Loesch is ahead of Phillies 1-2. Phillies won 2 games in St. Louis earlier in the year. And, of course, the Cardinals winning yesterday. Series finale tomorrow. Here's a line drive into left field. It'll be a base hit. Holiday going over. 2 runs are going to score. And the Phillies take a 3-0 lead here in the first inning for Feliz. RBIs number 50 and 51 and remains dangerous with the bases loaded.
You may remember our scouting report since it was about 8 minutes ago. We talked about Loesch having a tough time on the edges. Well, that's just entirely too good a pitch with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. You have a chance to toy with the major league hitter, try to get him to go out of the zone, and here's that scouting report one more time. Control on the edges a problem, and it certainly has been in this inning.
So Utley and Ibanez coming across, and Worth is on at third. Runners at first and third, 2 out. Carlos Ruiz, swing and a miss, strike 1. So Ruiz, the 8th batter to hit for the Phillies here in the first inning. Coming in, batting .236 with 5 homers and 22 runs driven in.
Bob Gibson used to say, the plate is 17 inches wide. The inside 2 inches is mine, and the outside 2 inches is mine. The middle 13 is yours.
And I think there were some other pitchers, notably Don Drysdale.
Oh, yeah.
An early win a long time ago who felt the same way.
Yeah, if you had good swings at their pitches, then you were going down. If you had good swings in the middle 13 inches, no problem.
Fly ball hit to right field, and Ludwig making the one-handed catch to end the threat on the warning track. So Carlos Ruiz very nearly hit this one off the wall, but the Phillies sent 8 men to the plate, score 3 runs, and after 1, it's the Phillies 3 and the Cardinals nothing. By Pepsi is sponsored by Sprint, the Now Network. By Hyundai. Now Hyundai Assurance can even lower your price at the pump. And by Taco Bell, think outside the bun. So Rodrigo Lopez now staked to a 3-0 lead as the Cardinals come up in the second. Ryan Ludwig taking a strike. Ludwig making the catch on the opposite field drive by Ruiz at the warning track near the wall to end the Phillies' first inning. But Ludwig has been swinging a hot bat as of late. Fastball outside, 1-1.
Good play to save 2 runs in the bottom of the first.
1-1 pitch off the fist, fouled out of play, and the count 1-2 to Ludwig, who has hit in 16 of the last 17 for the Cardinals, batting .419. So some of the Cardinals starting to blossom at the plate, and then the addition of Matt Holliday. Couldn't come at a better time for the Redbirds, clinging to the lead in the NL Central. There's a drive hit deep to left field, down near the foul pole, and it is gone. A home run by Ryan Ludwig, and the Cardinals come back with a home run off of Lopez. First one he's given up all year. And for Ludwig, his 17th home run of the year. It's 3-1.
That was a pitch designed to be outside and stayed inside. You know, the thing I don't understand about that is Ruiz was setting up inside. There are very few catchers on breaking balls that set up inside to right-handed batters from a right-handed pitcher. But Ruiz was setting up inside, and the pitch was about where his glove was.
And there's Rick Ankiel, grounds it to Ryan Howard, who flips to Lopez for the out, and there's one gone in the Cardinals' second inning.
Major league hitters, that ball just spins and doesn't break. Catchers don't catch those often. Line drive on the other end of it.
And well deep into the stands. So Ryan Ludwig, who had 2 hits and an RBI last night, continues his hot hitting. Now has hit in 17 of the last 18 for the Cardinals. Here's Mark DeRosa, who was the first new face to join the Cardinals. He's playing third base today, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike, acquired from the Cleveland Indians on June the 27th. Then went on the disabled list with an injured wrist and returned about a week ago. And a call strike, 1-1.
Dick, you and I did that game down in Tampa Bay, Cleveland and Tampa Bay, when Mark DeRosa was with the Indians. And that's when Eric Wedge had that meltdown the next day, upset at his bullpen. But the night before, Mark DeRosa did something very interesting. He threw a football about 60 yards. Remember that? I mean, it was unbelievable. He was in football cleats and was dropping back and had all the moves of a University of Pennsylvania quarterback. The reason for that, he was a University of Pennsylvania quarterback.
Yes. And there's a shot by DeRosa up the alley in left center field and off the wall. Chasing it and retrieving it is Ibanez, and DeRosa going into second with a double. So a home run and a double. And Mark DeRosa is at second base. And Ken Rosenthal, interested to how DeRosa learned of the acquisition of Matt Holliday yesterday.
Well, Dick, he received a text message from Skip Schumacher, and Schumacher jokingly said, "Finally, we get a middle-of-the-order hitter." DeRosa replied, "I guess I was just the appetizer."
And not a bad appetizer. Very valuable with the Cubs last season. And a scrappy player. I would think he's really Tony La Russa's kind of performer. So a runner at second, one out. Run in. Here's Yadier Molina, the Cardinals catcher, and gets jammed and pops it up. Charging is Feliz, makes the catch for the second out. Good pitch that time by Rodrigo Lopez.
An expensive appetizer and an expensive entree at a very expensive restaurant, the St. Louis Cardinals restaurant now. But they added about $6 million to their payroll. And next year it'll be more with Matt Holliday there.
Well, if you're hungry and you want style, you're going to pay heavily on those appetizers.
That's exactly right.
Not to mention the desserts that follow.
That's right.
Well, here's Kyle Loesch. Not a bad hitter. 5 for 22. Has scored 2 runs this season and has an RBI. DeRosa at second with 2 away. Phillies lead 3-1 as the Cardinals scoring this inning, and a fastball, strike 1 to Loesch. Breaking ball outside, and it's 1-1. It'll be interesting. We're going to talk to Tony La Russa. Right now, he is carrying 12 pitches. He's had as many as 13. And, of course, he said, what happens in a game that could get into a contest of a high-scoring affair where you have to go to your bullpen. We could bring up the 13th pitcher tomorrow. So he's hoping this game does not require the Cardinals to go deep into their bullpen. 2-1 to count to Loesch. Up the middle, and Chase Utley behind the bag will make the play to retire the side, but the Cardinals get on the scoreboard on Ryan Ludwig's leadoff home run, and in the middle of the second inning, the Phillies are up 3-1. By Bud Light Lime, the drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. 87 degrees here in Philadelphia on the last Saturday in July, on a beautiful ballpark and a great day as the first place Phillies in the NL East taking on the first place Cardinals in the National League Central. And here is Rodrigo Lopez, 0 for 6 on the season. Phillies pitcher takes inside for ball one. It'll be Lopez, and then the top of the order, Jimmy Rollins and Shane Victorino. And that'll be ball two. Kyle Loesch threw 37 pitches, Tim, in the first inning and went to the full count on 3 occasions.
Not only defining a long inning, but defining perhaps a short outing. Usually 37 pitches in the first inning almost dooms you, unless you come back. Not that pitchers can't do that, but it almost dooms you going past 5 innings. And
falling behind 3-0 on the opposite pitcher, is going to get you in trouble too. It's 3-1 now. So here is Kyle Loesch, who missed more than a month. His last start gave up a 3-run homer to Carlos Lee of the Astros. Cardinals lost 3-2, but he pitched well. There's a called strike. And after the game, Tony La Russa said, look, I thought the performance of Loesch was outstanding. Made one mistake, the home run to Lee. And the problem was the Cardinals just didn't get enough runs. Here is the 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up to the right side. Pujols in foul territory, has a play, and makes it for out number 1. And now it's time for a direct TV game break, bottom of the 8th inning. Derek Jeter with a 2-run homer off of Michael Wirtz. It was 6-1. That made it 6-3. And then Mark Teixeira with a solo home run. But the final out, Andrew Bailey gets Derek Jeter to fly out to end the game as the Oakland A's beat the Yankees 6-4, ending their 8-game winning streak. And of course, next week it'll be the Yankees and the White Sox. Tim, you and Tom Brenneman will be covering that game in a big one next week on Fox.
Well, the Yankees in that red-hot streak of 8 in a row. They've now won 8 of 9. Boston only 2 back. Tampa Bay 6. Chris Rose was talking before the game, Dick, and talking to Mark Burley, that brilliant performance against the Tampa Bay Rays on Thursday afternoon. That was unbelievable.
Fastball on the inside corner to Jimmy Rollins, who lined out to Schumacher at second his first time up. Count is 2-1 to Rollins. 3 for 19 against Loesch. And a call strike, 2-2 to Rollins. And with the Phillies leading 3-1, looking to get on base. 10th in the National League with 17 stolen bases as he fouls it off. And Victorino with 50.
It's so appropriate to talk about Mark Burley's perfect game because he's from St. Louis and says that before his career is over with, he wants to pitch at least 1 inning for the Cardinals. Huge Cardinal fan growing up.
More than pitching that 1 inning in the All-Star game, which is pretty successful, right?
Yeah, so he's already pitched 1 inning in St. Louis, but not for St. Louis.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, and Rollins grounds it, backhanded nicely by Pujols, makes the play unassisted for out number 2. And here it is, in case you missed it, 5-0 was the final score as Mark Burley, and this is the huge play, Gabe Kapler with a leadoff fly ball, and Dwayne Wise hit the wall, bobbled it, and held on, grabbed it with the bare hand, and here is the final out. Alexi Ramirez makes the play, and the perfect game, the 18th player in Major League history to throw a perfect game, and it was the second no-hitter in Burley's career. What a story it was to brighten baseball's week by far.
I wonder how many baseball players have talked to the President of the United States twice in 9 days.
That's right.
Burley did it during the All-Star game, prior to the All-Star game, and then after his perfect game. That's pretty heady stuff.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I wonder if
it could not have happened to a greater guy.
No.
I mean, Mark Burley's one of the great people in the game, just a stand-up guy and terrific in every way.
Shane Victorino with the count 1-1, up and in. And the count is 2-1. I was wondering whether the president has talked to any statesman around the world that frequently in 1 week.
Yeah, twice in 9 days. That's right.
Forgetting about a left-handed pitcher for his favorite team, the White Sox. 3-1 now to Victorino, who was beat out an infield hit and came around and scored on Ibanez's base hit. 3-1 the Phillies lead. And the count full now, 3-1 to the Phillies center fielder. Kyle Loesch looking for his 5th win of the year. He has dropped 6. And ball 4, and Victorino is on for the 2nd time in the game, and that is the 3rd walk issued by Loesch. That'll bring Chase Utley to the plate, who was the first batter to draw a walk. That was in the first inning when 8 men came up. Phillies scored 3 runs on 3 hits. Loesch coming around to score. And the big hits, Ibanez with an RBI single to center, and Feliz with a drive to left field, knocking in 2 runs. There goes the runner. Good jump by Victorino, and he's in there with a stolen base. His 16th of the year.
What a jump by Victorino. No chance by Molina, who threw the ball from his knees. A one-hopper to Lugo at short. Victorino easily stealing his 16th base of the year. The first catcher that I remember seeing do that was Benito Santiago with San Diego in the late 60s. I think 1987. But I've always been amazed, knowing how difficult it is to throw standing up, how guys throw with such authority from their knees.
And also, it looked for the moment as if he had both feet off the ground when he got rid of it. And you're right, Benito Santiago, one of the more acrobatic and spectacular catchers behind the plate.
Athletic.
It's 1-1 to Chase Utley. 2 down, and Victorino on at second. Phillies in front 3-1, batting here in the second inning. Breaking pitch just missing away. 2-1. Well, there's been no question about the Phillies' ability to score runs this year, and lately it's been a scramble as far as their pitching is concerned. Last year they had great relief pitching. It's been spotty this year. Injuries haven't helped, with Romero and Durbin now on the disabled list. So it's been an offensive effort for the Phillies to get him there, and it's 3-1 now to Utley. Ryan Howard on deck.
The only 2 pitchers that have not gone on the disabled list in the bullpen for the Phillies, Chan Ho Park and Ryan Madsen.
There's the Philly bullpen, and hoping they can just sit there today. They're leading 3-1. So for the 7th time in this game already, Loesch has a 3-ball count and a foul ball, and the count is full. So Victorino will be off on the pitch with 3-2 and 2 out. And there's Kyle Kendrick, who just came up from the Phillies and in the bullpen now. So runner at second base, and Victorino will be a little cautious, obviously, with that 3-2 count. And it's lifted in the air deep to right center field. Ludwig going back, and now it's the center fielder Ankiel off the wall and makes the catch. So 2 sparkling plays by the Cardinal outfielders, Ludwig and Ankiel, end that thread. And we'll be back to Philadelphia with Albert Pujols coming up for the Cardinals right after these messages from your local Fox station. Baseball presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. Top of the third inning, top of the order for the Cardinals. Skip Schumacher against Rodrigo Lopez takes strike one. Schumacher bounced out to Rollins at short his first time up. Has a 9-game hitting streak coming into this one. 1 ball and 1 strike to Schumacher, who moved to second base this year after playing the outfield in the 4 previous years. And Tony La Russa likes to interchange infielders and outfielders. He had so many outfielders, and he had to find places for them in spring training.
Skip is the first Cardinal outfielder to move to second base since 1945, when Red Shandies did it. And I talked to Red about that. And Red said it was after the war, or during the course of being after the war. And Billy Southworth, the manager, asked him, he said, Red, you don't have as strong a throwing arm as we'd like from the outfield, but you have the perfect arm for second base. You have great hands. And would you consider moving? And he considered moving right into the Hall of Fame.
The rest is history. Speaking about Red Shandies, this week the Cardinals had a makeup game in Washington on Thursday against the Nationals, and they took a train here to Philadelphia. And it was like a throwback to the old days. And Tony La Russa said, I wish that Red Shandies and Stan Musial would have been aboard to talk baseball like they did many, many years ago. Schumacher on the pop-up, and Rollins makes the catch, and there's 1 gone here in the third inning. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, and you mentioned that, here are the people that are going to be inducted tomorrow. Jim Rice and Rickey Henderson on the 20th and 21st. Left fielders elected to the Hall of Fame. And Joe Gordon from the Veterans Committee. And, of course, Tony Kubek winning the Ford C. Frick Award as a broadcaster, an outstanding broadcaster after a great career as a shortstop with the Yankees. And, of course, personally delighted that Jim Rice finally made it in his last opportunity under the present. And, you can talk about numbers and whether people deserve it. And it was Carl Yastrzemski who said, look, I played with this guy for his entire career virtually, and you have to play with someone to know if they're a Hall of Famer, and he is one.
Nobody said it better than Yaz, a Hall of Famer himself.
0-1 to Julio Lugo, and a line drive to left field. So you think he likes coming over to the Cardinals. He had a triple and a home run last night, Tim, and 2 singles so far in this game.
Talking about a guy, and we mentioned it after his first at bat, that he may have been too Fenway conscious while playing there. Well, a guy who was Fenway conscious and could have played anywhere was a guy with the strength of Jim Rice. And what a segue with this guy hitting for the Cardinals right now.
Tremendous strength. Albert Pujols, the heart and soul of the Cardinals. And along with Musial, the heart and soul of their franchise, you might say, over the years. Pujols, a fly to left his first time up. Coming off of the best month of his career in the month of June. 1 out, and Lugo, who stole second back in the first inning, and of course Lopez, aware of that, goes over there. Pujols, by the way, is assigned through 2010, and the club has an option through 2011. And maybe one of the hidden pluses of getting Holiday is the fact that if Pujols feels that the Cardinals are making strides to get the team better, he may not think of going elsewhere if the front office is trying to strengthen the team right now. Here is the pitch to Pujols, and a line foul. Ken Rosenthal, you have more on that.
Dick, this saga, though, is not over yet. Matt Holliday is a free agent at the end of the season, and obviously if the Cardinals do not re-sign him, the questions will be raised anew. Who's going to protect Albert? What about ownership's commitment? So certainly, as Tim mentioned, with the Cardinals spending about $6 million to get DeRosa and Holliday, that is a great sign for Pujols, for La Russa in the last year of his contract. But Pujols still wants to see more, I would imagine.
I don't think there's any question, Ken. The 0-1 pitch to him and a ground ball playing perfectly is Utley, and a 4-6-3 double play will end the inning. So you would think the Cardinals don't want to get under the skin of Pujols. They want to keep Holliday. That remains to be seen. We'll be back. baseball and the people all-stars among us in your community by signing up to volunteer at MLBGoBeyond.com. Ryan Howard will start it off for the Phillies in the bottom of the third inning, and he takes a call strike. Howard was called out on strikes in the first inning. Pujols is playing deep, close to the line at first, and a call strike 2 on the breaking ball. There's Pujols, and the second baseman Skip Schumacher playing in short right field. Swing and a miss, and 3 pitches, and Loesch gets Howard. So Howard goes down for the second time, and 1 gone in the third inning. That'll bring up Raul Ibanez. Knocked in the first Phillies run with a single to center field in the first inning when the Phils scored 3 times. Ibanez now hitting at .307. And a ball outside.
All-Star game being played 11 days ago, and nobody was happier than Raul Ibanez. At 37 years old, his first All-Star game. That is the oldest position player to make an All-Star game for the first time since Babe Ruth in 1933. And Babe was 38 during the first All-Star game played in Chicago. It's unbelievable.
It was great for the oldsters. Tim Wakefield, 42 years old, was the oldest pitcher since Satchel Paige.
Right, in 1953.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was actually on the 52 All-Star team as well, but didn't pitch. That game was canceled after 5 innings because of rain, to disappoint the many fans who went to Shibe Park to see that game.
In fact, that year was the last year of the St. Louis Browns, because the next year they moved to Baltimore. There's a great book, by the way. I haven't read it. I have the book, but I haven't read it. But a biography of Satchel Paige that is out on your newsstand today.
Line drive, and there's Ibanez's ability to go with the pitch as he strokes it to left center field. His second hit in 2 trips. 1 out, 1 on for the Phils here in the third.
By the way, the name of that book appropriately is Satchel.
Mm-hmm.
What else is it going to be named?
That's all. There's some athletes where you just
Satchel.
You just give a name.
It's like Ichiro.
Exactly.
Ichiro, you know exactly who it is, and it's like Albert or Tiger.
Right.
Great hitting once again by Ibanez.
Jason Worth walked his first time up. Takes low. 1-0 the count. Phillies now with the 4 hits in the game. And Jason Worth with Ibanez held on by Pujols. 1 ball, 1 strike, letter high. Let's take a look right now at our Gillette Trivia Power question. And interesting, name the 6 pitchers who have thrown a no-hitter and a perfect game. So there are 6 pitchers who have thrown multiple no-hitters, but one of which was a perfect game.
One of them, Sandy Koufax.
We don't want to give it all away.
No.
But one of them was Sandy Koufax. And we'll say, we'll make it easy. Mark Burley was one also.
Oh, yeah. Burley just did it on Thursday, so that's 2 of the 6.
That's right. Come up with the others. Count to Worth is 1-1 after Molina went out to talk to Loesch. That's a strike by Kyle Loesch. Pitch for the Phillies, as Tim mentioned, in 07 after a trade from the Reds, and was 3-0 in 11 starts, and 2-0 right here in Philadelphia. There's a drive hit to center field, and Keel going back on the warning track. Tough, and going up and makes the catch. What a catch by Ankiel. His second great catch of the day as the throw comes in wide of first, and Ibanez has to scamper back to first. He was practically at second base. What a glittering play by Rick Ankiel at center.
His first catch was good. This one's sensational. Just a brilliant play by Rick Ankiel. What a convert from a pitcher to an outfielder. Wow.
And there you see the reaction of Kyle Loesch. So Ankiel, who's been fighting some problems at the plate, and there he said, what a reaction he has. A great play by Rick Ankiel. So there are 2 down. Ibanez remains at first to Pedro Feliz, who drove in 2 runs his first time up.
Dick, we were down in the Cardinal clubhouse before the game, and Rick Ankiel having that ice on his right shoulder. He had collided with the lower part of the left center field wall in St. Louis on May 4th, severely injuring that right shoulder. It's still not the same, but that makes that play that much more appreciable when you think about it. Doing what he had to do to get that right arm extended to pull back the home run by Jason Worth.
We were talking before the game about the outstanding defensive play of the Philadelphia Phillies and how many assists they have as an outfield. How about the catches made by the Cardinals? So Jason Worth robbed of extra bases as Feliz gets called out on strikes. That was headed over the fence for a home run. And the Phillies, after 3, still lead the Redbirds 3-1. Bar, the beauty goes on. By Bank of America Home Loans, starting now, home has a new address. And by Chevy. Phillies and the Cardinals as we go to the 4th inning with Phillies leading 3-1. Matt Holliday leading off and hits a shot foul down the left field line. Here's the reaction from his teammates. Rick Ankiel received coming to the dugout. High fives all around and well-deserved.
No, just a terrific play. That twisting catch in center field. And again, we talked about that sore right shoulder of Rick's. Certainly something to keep in mind. And I noticed Barry Weinberg, the trainer of the Cardinals, coming up immediately after that catch. And Rick was too busy shaking hands. Barry, I'll be right with you. I'll let you know in a second. All right. And then now we'll talk.
I'm still accepting congratulations and thank you for the water. I need the refreshment. Foul ball out of play by Holliday. The count, no balls and 2 strikes. Holliday struck out his first time up, and you're looking at Cardinals' new cleanup hitter. Won the batting championship in 2007. Led the league in runs batted in 07. And a great hitter at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Here is the 0-2 pitch, and 1 ball and 2 strikes. Matt Holliday wore number 5 with both the Colorado Rockies and the Oakland A's. Now, obviously, he couldn't wear number 5 in St. Louis because of somebody else. But here are the players who have worn number 15. And Tim, you wore it, Dick Allen, and Jim Edmonds right before Matt Holliday. There's a line drive, base hit to left center field. And going past Ibanez all the way to the wall, and Holliday is going to get into second base. So that'll be the 5th hit of the game for the Cardinals. They have at least a hit in every inning.
Boy, this is a seed to left center field, a double for Holliday. He had a double in last night's game. Ibanez trying to track it down, but it got by. At number 15, in the early 60s, was worn by Joe Cunningham.
First baseman.
Joe Cunningham could hit, too. Joe Cunningham finished second in the batting crown, I think, in 1961.
Here's Ryan Ludwig, who led off the second inning with a home run right down the left field line. And the first pitch, ball 1. So the Cardinals, who are trailing 3-1, have the leadoff man in scoring position. Matt Holliday with the 5th hit of the game for St. Louis. And this is sliced to center field. Victorino, and it dropping in front of Jason Worth. And holding at third is Holliday. So Ryan Ludwig now 2 for 2. Runners at first and third with nobody out. And before the game, Matt Holliday talking about his new number, 15.
Tim McCarver, former Cardinals great, wore number 15. You're wearing number 15. How do you plan to compensate him?
Does he need compensated? I don't know. Y'all are paying him pretty well, aren't you? I don't know. I'll check out his salary. You know, if it looks like he's not getting compensated well, maybe I'll slip him a $100 bill or something. No, I don't know. That's pretty cool, though. You know, I didn't really know which number I was going to be. I just kind of got here, and that's the number they gave me, and I like it. So we'll go with it.
Well, a lot of distinguished former Cardinals have worn that number, including my partner today, Tim McCarver, as the pitch is inside 2-0 to Rick Ankiel, who, of course, made a phenomenal catch last inning against Jason Worth. 2 balls, no strikes to Ankiel. Runners at first and third. Nobody out, and a ground ball gloved by Howard for the out. And now they had to tag the runner, and a wild throw by Howard, and a run will score. Matt Holliday will come in, and Ludwig will go to second base on the throwing error. Once the play was made at first, Howard knew, of course, that Ludwig would have to be tagged out at second, but that throw was way wild.
Well, it gives you an idea of Ludwig being in the line when Howard opted to throw it. Ryan looks at the runner at third, and now by the time he throws to second base, the runner is between, and you get a good shot at it right here. Ryan Howard looks to home, and now he looks to his right, and notice how the runner is running inside the line. So a good play by Ryan Ludwig, and the throw goes to left field, an error on Howard.
And no run batted in, but a run in for the Cardinals, who now trail 3-2. 1 out.
That's a sneaky, tough throw. It's tough for a right-handed throwing first baseman or a left-handed throwing first baseman.
And here's Mark DeRosa, who doubled to left his first time up, fouls off the first pitch for a strike. And in all fairness to Howard, he really did have a play on Ludwig at second base. So the error by Ryan Howard, his 5th of the season. Phillies coming in leading the National League in fielding. Have now committed only 38 errors. Second to the Toronto Blue Jays, 35. So they have been outstanding defensively. And a defensive swing fouled off by DeRosa. No balls, 2 strikes.
That is not an inconsiderable play or an inconsiderable play on Ryan Ludwig's part. Watch how he shifts in from the outside part. He knows Howard made the play. And now he runs inside the line, forcing the throw, perhaps, by Ryan Howard to left field. So, I mean, guys are trained to do that, though. If you know the first baseman's making the throw, go into second base standing up.
He was right in his line. You're
yeah, that's
right.
right.
He wasn't giving any ground by going on the outside.
Right.
So there is Ludwig on at second, a run in, 3-2. And Lopez hopes to avert further damage. And the pitch taken for a ball, and it's 2-2 to DeRosa, as Lopez didn't like that call. Well, Ken Rosenthal, Howard is trying to work on similar plays.
Dick, he had problems throwing to second last season, and that is something he worked very diligently on in the offseason with Sam Perlazzo, the Phillies' third base coach. It was something he seemingly had corrected. Jimmy Rollins told me earlier this season that every throw was right there, but at that particular point there, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I think there's an assist to Ryan Ludwig,
Yes,
and that's one of the big reasons it didn't happen.
Because he couldn't throw it where he would normally throw it where the runner was.
Yeah,
he had to throw it off base.
Once again, if he throws it in the line, that's where the runner is.
So Ludwig is at second, and Ryan Howard committing the throwing error. One away, and the count to DeRosa, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Phillies led 3-0, and the Cardinals now have narrowed it to a run. And another close pitch, and Rodrigo Lopez really upset now with the home plate umpire Jim Wolf. The count is full to DeRosa with Yadier Molina on deck.
Tailing fastball, Lopez thought it was a strike. Home plate umpire Jim Wolf said nope.
So Ludwig with the lead at second. Here's the 3-2 pitch, check swing, ball 4, and DeRosa draws the walk. And that is the first base on balls issued by Rodrigo Lopez. Puts runners at first and second with 1 out, and Yadier Molina coming to the plate. So Charlie Manuel's Phillies getting those 3 big runs in the first inning. And now that lead is in jeopardy, as here is Molina, who popped out to Feliz at third his first time. Molina hitting over 380 in his last 10 games. So there's danger in the bottom part of the Cardinal batting order. Good breaking pitch, fouled out of play into the right field seats. 0-1 the count to Yadier Molina, as the Cardinals with 1 out have runners at first and second here in the fourth, trailing by a run. And the Cardinals coming up with 7 home games after the series ends tomorrow. 4 against the Dodgers, who lead the NL West, and 3 at home against the Houston Astros, who swept the Cardinals in Houston this week. Broken bat roller to Rollins, and Utley's throw to first in time for the double play. So Lopez sawed off Molina, and the double play. The Cardinals, however, get a run, and after 3.5 here in Philadelphia, the Phillies are up 3-2. Fourth inning, the Phillies now leading 3-2 over the Cardinals, and it'd be the 8-9, and then a leadoff hitter, Carlos Ruiz, Rodrigo Lopez, and then Jimmy Rollins to face Kyle Loesch. Ruiz flied out to the warning track in right field, and Ryan Ludwig had to make a difficult catch that has been exceeded by two outstanding plays made by Rick Ankiel since then.
Outstanding.
So Ruiz 0 for 1, and the pitch taken for the ball. 2 balls, no strikes. Fouled at the plate, and it's 2-1 to Ruiz. Phillies best this season was 53-38, and then they were 15 games under 500, over 500. Then they lost. So right now at 14 over 500, they can match their best one-loss percentage with a win today. As Ruiz pops it up, and Schumacher in short right field makes the catch for out number 1. Talk to the Cardinals manager, Tony La Russa. And La Russa right now has 12 pitchers on his roster. Most of the year, though, 13 with only 4 extra men. What's his philosophy with the number of pitchers?
Well, it's such a demanding season, and our relievers have been really good, and part of the reason is they've been fresh in the real game situation. So we keep an extra pitcher quite often, so that in case a game gets away, either we're ahead or they're ahead, we don't have to use up one of those core relievers. And like a game like today, if we use up too much, we'll have somebody here tomorrow.
Tony, talking about Kyle Loesch, you told me before the game that he was a little wild in the middle part of the plate, but after that first inning, he's been moving the ball around very well.
Yeah, he's doing better, Tim, but he's really fighting his delivery, and he's centering some balls. Rick has held him. We've gotten help get those zeros. So unless he gets his delivery together, we're going to give some runs. So it's a tricky situation.
I know it's huge for you to get Matt Holliday on this team.
Well, he's high quality, and he does everything. Complete player, and never throws a net bat away. So those are the kind of guys you like.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Well, Matt Holliday, who today has responded with a double and 2 trips and a scored a run. Lopez, the pitcher, out on a swinging bunt to third. So with 2 down, here's Jimmy Rollins up for the 3rd time, line to second, and bounce to Pujols unassisted. So Loesch certainly has settled down, and the first pitch is a called strike, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits. As Ibanez with an RBI single, and Feliz drove in 2 runs with a base hit, and helped by his defense, to say the least. The count is 1-1 to Rollins. Jimmy Rollins now 2 for 15. As Tim pointed out, the first 3 hitters in the lineup have not had much success against the Cardinals starter today. And inside, the count now 2-1 with 2 out.
Normally, the more experienced hitter with 2 out and nobody on, you try to stay away from the hitter because he's thinking inside for a long ball. That was a home run swing that Jimmy Rollins just took right there. Now, if you're leading off the inning, then it's better to come inside on a hitter, a more experienced hitter. But with 2 out and nobody on, an experienced guy like Rollins is thinking, particularly in this ballpark, of trying to pop one, so you're more inclined to stay away from him with 2 out and nobody on.
Here's a guy who's had MVP numbers and has really had a brilliant career. What's it like to start out the way he has started out, going as much as 0 for 28? You got to hang in there. Bounding ball is Schumacher, and a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Loesch. Middle of the 4th inning. It's 3-2 in favor of the Phillies. Phillies, and now time for the Gillette Trivia Power Question Answer. Name the 6 pitchers who have thrown a no-hitter and a perfect game. Cy Young, of course. Addie Joss. Not many people would get that, but Jim Bunning, you said Sandy Koufax and Mark Burley. And and Randy Johnson, of course, who was the last to pitch a perfect game. Colby Rasmus pinch hitting for Kyle Loesch, who has thrown 90 pitches and will come out of the game. Trevor Miller, the left-hander, is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen, so he will be coming up as Rasmus swings and misses for the strike.
Tony La Russa telling us that Kyle Loesch having a tough time with his delivery this afternoon. You know, that's something that a manager and a pitching coach has to see from a pitcher on a day-to-day basis. It's very difficult to even if you're following the game, to see a pitcher one time and think that he may be having a tough time with his delivery. It's such a fine point. Arm angle, stride going too far or too short.
And Rasmus retired on the pop-up to Chase Utley, and of course Dave Duncan, who, as Tony La Russa will say, where am I going to manage? Well, wherever Dave Duncan is, that's where I'll go.
That's right.
And he's unstinting in the praise for Dave Duncan. There you see on the left, whose son Chris was traded to the Red Sox in the Julio Lugo deal and was quite upset and even publicly said, look, someone in the Cardinal organization didn't want Chris Duncan here anymore, and he succeeded, which is, knowing Dave Duncan, he speaks his mind.
Yes, he does.
So the batter is Skip Schumacher. 1-0 the count with 1 out here in the top of the 5th inning. And a foul tip held on to by Ruiz, and it's 1-1. So here is Rodrigo Lopez, who's clinging to a 3-2 lead. Facing Schumacher with Lugo on deck. And it's driven into right field. Worth will look up, and it's off the wall. And going into second with a sliding double is Skip Schumacher. So the 6th hit of the game for the Cardinals. They have hit safely in every inning so far.
Lopez trying to come inside. He actually hits the glove, or would have hit the glove, of Ruiz. Had not Schumacher turned around and said, I'll handle this, Carlos. And he did. Rope on the end of that one.
Well, bring the heat. Taco Bell. And let's compare the pitcher's top fastball each inning.
They're both right around 90, and velocity way down on the list of getting guys out anyway. Movement, location.
And for Lopez, who had the shoulder strain, he left his previous start on July 8th. And once in the low 90s, he was down to 88 for his best fastball.
Well, I guess for Taco Bell, location's important too, not only heat.
Spokesman.
Not movement, however.
Stop where you said the heat. I would not have added that next line. Here's Julio Lugo, who has a pair of hits and a stolen base. Quit while you're ahead, and you were ahead. 1 out, and Schumacher on at second base as the Cardinals have the tying run in scoring position. And the first pitch down low to Lugo, 1-0. So Lugo played second base last night, and it had been a while since he had played second. He had his problems with the Red Sox at shortstop, committing 7 errors earlier this year. Jed Lowry won the disabled list, and Nick Green then assumed the shortstop position. Lopez, ready for the 1-0, steps off to keep Schumacher close. Utley is shaded toward second, especially with the right-handed batter up at the plate, and now starting to move closer to the bag. There you see him in the center of the diamond. Phillies scored 3 runs in the first inning on 3 hits. Banez with an RBI single. Feliz drove in 2 runs with a hit. But the Cardinals can come back. Ryan Ludwig with a leadoff homer in the second. And then a run scoring on an error by Ryan Howard on a wild throw to second base, allowing Matt Holliday to score. Now the tying run is at second. 1-0 breaking pitch in tight, and it's 1-1 to Lugo.
Sometimes after a 9-inning game, you look back on one out that you view as the most important out during the 9 innings. In my view, this is the most important out. You get him out, then you can work around Pujols or walk him or do whatever you want to. If Lugo gets on, the Phillies are in trouble.
Here's the 2-0 pitch, and it's lined to right field, and it's going to be a fair ball, extra bases. Schumacher will score the tying run, and Lugo will go into second with a stand-up double, and the Cardinals were trailing 3-0 in the first inning, have tied the score 3-3. Lugo with the 2 singles and a double driving in the tying run.
And again, taking the right approach, and that's right field. So he's gone to right center, left field, right field. Lugo 3 for 3, and again, the Cardinals love this situation with Pujols first base open. If you want a walking pitch around him, that's why you got Holliday.
And that's why Lugo is again in the lineup today. He is now 14 for 32 in his career against Rodrigo Lopez. And here is Pujols, 0 for 2, bounced into a double play started by Utley. And the first pitch outside, ball 1. So with 1 out, the Cardinals now with 8 hits. Jan-Ho Park, who has done well coming out of the bullpen for the Phillies with all of the injuries they've experienced. Lopez 1-0 pitch, and time was called. No pitch. Time called before the delivery.
Pujols looking back, it could have been Ruiz who called timeout. It could have been Pujols who called timeout.
And a good pitch. That won't count. So it's been a little frustrating for Rodrigo Lopez. A couple of pitches that he thought were strikes. And he has now thrown 66 pitches into this 5th inning. Cardinals with the go-ahead run at second. Rasmus, the pinch hitter, made out, but back-to-back doubles by Schumacher and Lugo, and now the heavy hitters for the Cardinals. There's a strike on the inside corner. 1-1 to Albert Pujols. When you talk about first base open, maybe not pitching around as much. Pujols coming into this game leading the National League with 34 intentional walks, 21 more than the second place man. Fastball, strike 2, 1-2. Rodrigo Lopez, 2-0 on the year. Checking Lugo, the runner at second, who just knocked in a run, and the pitch is outside. You talk about an important game. Any manager will say every game is important. But for the Cardinals, who are in a tight race, trying to gain some momentum, getting Holliday yesterday, trying to get something going against a team they're only playing 5 times during the year. And for the Phillies, who had won 15 out of 18, but dropping 2 out of 3, wanting to get back on the right side of the track. Lopez facing Pujols with the count 2-2 and 1 out. Just missing, and the count is full, 3-2.
And the Cubs playing a lot better. Only a game behind the Cardinals in the National League Central. They won again today. They're 3rd in a row.
Another borderline pitch in Lopez's mind, and he falls down. Cardinals will have a new pitcher next inning. when the Phillies bat in the fifth. The lead by Lugo. One out. Now the crowd gets into the act. Payoff pitch. And lifted in the air to left field. And Ibanez will be there and makes the catch. And Lugo, who is a third of the way, goes back to the bag. So a good pitching effort by Lopez to get Pujols for the third time.
You see how Lopez pitched Albert. The first pitch outside, the second pitch in for a strike with the count 1-1. Now 1-2 outside. The 2-2 pitch is low and inside. And I'll tell you, that 3-2 pitch, Albert Pujols just missed hitting that ball to the William Penn statue.
And you'll have to take Tim's word. It's far away from here.
Yeah, we can see it though from here.
Here's Matt Holliday and fouls off the first pitch for a strike. We can see it even without binoculars.
Yeah.
Matt Holliday is 1 for 2, struck out and doubled and scored. So Matt Holliday.
There's Willie.
There he is. Quite a blast to reach that guy. They're pretty high up, I might add.
Yes, and a long way.
Here's the 0-1. And fouled at the plate. So Lopez ahead of Matt Holliday, no balls and 2 strikes. Lugo going back to second. So the Cardinals getting the protection hitter for Pujols that they wanted in Matt Holliday. And they had to pay dearly for him. Brett Wallace, third baseman, first round pick in 08. A natural hitter, they say. Could come right in and start for the Oakland A's. But here's the 0-2 coming up to Holliday, who steps out. And right now, Lopez has thrown 73 pitches and a conference at the mound. How about in just less than 2 days, Matt Holliday, 5 for 7 with an RBI, and Julio Lugo 5 for 8.
Then you had Mark DeRosa, who had 3 home runs against the Astros this past week. The 3 key additions for the Cardinals that should pay off handsomely over the last 2 months of the season.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Runner at second base. And it's lifted in the air to right field. Jason Worth has room and makes the catch to retire the side. But the Cardinals get the tying run, and Ryan Howard will be the third man up for the Phillies when they come up in the bottom of the fifth. the Zantac relief pitcher profile. Heartburn, attack it, Zantac.
Trevor Miller missing the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Tampa Bay Rays are missing Trevor Miller.
Yes.
Trevor Miller did a fine job for the American League champion Rays last year and has done a good job for the Cardinals this year.
Making his 38th appearance, 2-0 with a 2.22 earned run average, facing Victorino, Utley, and Howard, the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Phillies in the 5th inning. And Mark DeRosa playing in at third base, respecting the possible bunt. And the first pitch is a call strike. Miller last pitched Sunday against the Diamondbacks, working 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit, as you see DeRosa.
Victorino, however, if he bunts, he's inclined to bunt it toward first base. He rarely drags the ball right-handed down the third base line. So if you're DeRosa, you can play a few steps back because Victorino does not drag down the third base line from the right side.
And he's got a lot of room there with Pujols playing even with the bag at first base and wide of the base. 2 balls and a strike. Victorino, with a single and a walk, has been aboard twice, has scored a run, and has stolen a base, his 16th of the year. 3-3 the score here, last of the 5th inning, and a fastball out of the zone, fouled back by Victorino, and the count is level at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Phillies getting 3 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning, but the Cardinals with single runs in the 2nd, 4th, and 5th have tied it up. And here's Victorino, the 2-2 pitch is lined, base hit over Schumacher into center field, retrieved by Ankiel, and Victorino now has been aboard 3 times, 2 hits and a walk. And right now, the Bank of America fan cam. And what is a better fan cam than before the game when the fans were allowed on the field, Charlie Manuel and other member of the Phillies coming over to talk to the fans. So this is ideal for the fans to meet their heroes. And that was the scene. Cole Hamels coming over before the game as well, getting their pictures taken and autographs as well. And Shane Victorino talking to that long-time Phillies fan. So Victorino, the go-ahead run on at first base with nobody out, and Chase Utley, who has walked and was robbed of extra bases by Rick Ankiel, who made the first of 2 sensational plays. Second one was out of this world in the 3rd. So here's Utley facing Trevor Miller. Kyle Loesch worked 4 innings and allowed 3 runs, all of them earned. 5 hits or 4 hits. Walked 3 and struck out 3. And we'll get a no decision. Ryan Howard is on deck. Victorino already with his 16th stolen base of the year. A threat.
I think the thing that separates Victorino and Utley from other players of equal talent in the National League is their grit. These guys, this tandem of Victorino and Utley are, tough. They play every day. An example, Victorino slams into the fence last night in right center field. He's back in there. No limp, no nothing. And that's something you can't quantify when you sign a player. You don't know about his soul. You can see his talent, but you don't know about their grit. Utley gets hit by a lot of pitches.
So you got a good combination there with the count 1 ball and no strikes inside 2-0. Remember Shane Victorino, and the fans recognize that, Tim, because
absolutely.
He won the National League fan vote, started in center field for the injured Carlos Beltran.
Campaigning with the mayor. Shane saying, I had a little tough time going door to door here in South Philly, but the mayor told me that's how I won the election.
The old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
No television spots.
No.
Here's the 2-0 pitch first to throw over to first base.
Here's that play last night we were talking about. This is when the Phillies are trailing by 6 runs. And Victorino slamming into the right. Now, I'll guarantee you, there are a lot of players in the major leagues who would not play today. And Victorino's out there like nothing happened last night.
Ground ball hit slowly to Schumacher. Gets the force, and that's all. And good play made by Lugo to keep his foot on the bag on that throw that was high.
That was close. Was his right foot on the bag? See Victorino going in hard at second base. Was Lugo's foot on the bag? Yes, it was. Good play. Very nice.
So Lugo, all of a sudden a different man, playing decent defense and coming up with only 5 hits in less than 2 games, including a homer and a triple. And an RBI double, 3 for 3 today. There it is again.
And nobody in the National League more relentless going into second base than Shane Victorino.
So Utley is safe on the fielder's choice. 1 away, and here's Ryan Howard, who struck out twice against Kyle Loesch, facing Miller and dropping down in the first pitch is a strike. You talk about Trevor Miller and kind of year he had last year with Tampa Bay. Made 2 appearances in the World Series against the Phillies, but also gave up a 2-run homer to this man Ryan Howard in game number 4. 3-3 the count, bottom of the 5th inning, and that pitch is down low. 1-1 to Howard. 24 homers and 70 runs batted in. Coming in tied for 3rd in runs batted in with his teammate Raul Ibanez, who's on deck. 2-1. Next Saturday, the Yankees and the White Sox, a big one. Dodgers and Braves. Some will see the Royals and the Tampa Bay Rays, who are back in the race in the AL East. Here's the 2-1 to Howard. And a line drive and a double play as Albert Pujols easily steps on the bag as Howard drilled that right to Pujols, and the double play, the first of the game for the Cardinals. And that'll do it. Powerful clean without dry skin. and by Priority Mail flat rate boxes only from the Postal Service, a simpler way to ship. And the lights on here, despite the fact that it's a sun-splashed field here in Philadelphia. 87 degrees when we started the day, and Ryan Ludwig leading off against Rodrigo Lopez and takes a strike. Ludwig has had a big day so far, lead-off home run in the second and a single in the fourth inning. And a good bit of base running, which possibly set up an errant throw by Ryan Howard, resulting in a Cardinal run. Call strike, and it's 0-2 to Ludwig. Lopez has given up 8 hits, at least one in every inning, just missing, and it's 1-2. In his last start against the Cubs on Sunday, he got the victory working 6 innings, giving up a run on 5 hits, struck out 5, and a good performance by Rodrigo Lopez. And there's the pitch missing, and the count now 2-2. Everyone is under the impression that Rodrigo Lopez is expected to stay in the rotation only until Pedro Martinez is ready. Martinez will pitch tomorrow for Class A Clearwater in a competitive game. Charlie Manuel said, I'm not going to take Lopez out of there if he continues to pitch well. He's going to be in the rotation, and he has pitched well. Very pleased with Rodrigo Lopez, who has won his last 2 starts, and the last one was after a 12-day layoff. 3 balls, 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter Ludwig here in the 6th. Good strikeout. And that will be the second strikeout for Rodrigo Lopez. Right now, let's look, Tim, at the in-game box score for the St. Louis Cardinals, brought to you by Hyundai.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned Pedro Martinez. So the Phillies, here they are, 5.5 games in first place with 2 Hall of Fame right-handers, arguably with Halladay, but certainly with Pedro Martinez, who are lurking in the margins of the roster of the Phillies.
What about Roy Halladay, Ken Rosenthal?
The asking price from the Blue Jays is very high, and that has turned off the Phillies. It has turned off the Angels as well, who made a big offer for Halladay yesterday. My colleague John Paul Morosi reporting that the Blue Jays asked for Brandon Wood.
Rick Ankiel into the upper deck for the home run. But Ken, we're going to get back to you because good information on perhaps the future of the guy they've been talking about, Roy Halladay. Meanwhile, Ankiel, who has been sensational in the field today, hitting his 7th home run of the year, and the Cardinals, who were behind 3-0 at one point, have taken a 4-3 lead here in the 6th.
Gosh, what a game by Ankiel. He has taken away a 2-run homer from the Phillies and homered to put the Cardinals ahead for the first time in this ball game. That was a blast by Ankiel.
Mark DeRosa taking a ball outside, his double and walk. And Ken, I guess, what will it really take for the Blue Jays to make a deal?
It's going to take a painful price from one of the teams involved. As I was saying, Dick, the Angels were asked for Brandon Wood, Eric Ibar, and Joe Saunders, plus a prospect. That amounts to 3 major leaguers plus a prospect. With the Phillies, they're talking about Jay Happ and Kyle Drabeck and Dominic Brown, the outfielder, a number of top players. But this is Roy Halladay. This is an absolute difference maker, a pitcher who will put any team he joins into a very enviable position.
Kenny got a tremendous ovation from the Toronto fans in what could be his last appearance in a Blue Jays uniform, and the call strike to DeRosa to count 2 balls and 2 strikes. And there you see Roy Halladay and what he has done, and you know that he's a good person. He's a solid guy to have on the club, besides being a great pitcher.
And besides going deep in the games, nobody in baseball goes deeper in the games than Roy Halladay. I think it's interesting when you look at Jay Happ, who lost his first game last night to the Cardinals. But it's interesting to know, if you're a manager of a team, what your feelings are about a trade the stature of Roy Halladay.
And there's a ball hit past Rollins into left center field for a base hit. DeRosa's on with 1 out.
If you're a 65-year-old manager like Charlie Manuel, now, just talking about from a strictly personal standpoint, and Charlie didn't say anything, this is just an opinion on my part, but you're more inclined to think, hey, I don't have that many years left as a major league manager, so I want Halladay. If you're a 30-year-old manager or, say, a 40-year-old manager, then you're more inclined to think about the organization and the future of the organization. And again, that is not coming from Charlie Manuel. That's strictly my opinion.
Ground ball to third. Feliz to Utley and around the horn double play. And that is the third double play of the game. But Rick Ankiel's 1-out homer giving the Cardinals a 4-3 lead. Max replay. And there it is. Rick Ankiel made 2 sensational plays. This one was brilliant. Going high, twisting his body in essence, Tim, as he went over the top of the fence to make a catch to rob Jason Worth of extra bases. And offensively, last inning.
So he takes the 2-run homer away. And then he puts the Cardinals ahead for the go-ahead homer. First time the Cardinals have been ahead today.
And great for Ankiel, who's a big favorite in St. Louis. And you may have noticed by now that most, if not all, of the Cardinals are growing mustaches. So it's a team effort off the field as well, as the pitch to Ibanez leading off is inside. 2 balls and no strike to Ibanez, who has singled twice to center field, has driven in a run and scored once today. So 4-3, and the Phillies' 3 runs in the first inning has fizzled as the Cardinals have come back to take the lead. Call strike, it's 2-1. Bullpen activity for both teams. Cardinals have Jason Mott, and the Phillies, Chan Ho Park, both right-handers. There is Mott. A lot of people were thinking he would be a candidate to be the closer for the Cardinals this year. Not to be, as Ibanez swings and misses on that sidearm delivery. 2-2. There's Park, the veteran. Foul at the plate. Kyle Loesch working 4 innings for the Cardinals, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 3 and struck out 3. And was helped by some defensive plays in the outfield for St. Louis. It'll be Ibanez, Worth, and Feliz against Miller here in the 6th. So the 88-mile-per-hour pitch, 3 balls, 2 strikes. We'll return to our discussion, which is big news right now in baseball as to the possible dealing of Roy Halladay. Swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch, and Ibanez goes down. Right now, let's take a look at the Hyundai in-game box score for the Philadelphia Phillies. Victorino and Ibanez, each with 2 hits. And introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. And going to the mound is Tony La Russa, and that'll be all for Trevor Miller. We'll see the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Cardinals. Jason Mott has been warming up, and here he comes in. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Jason Mott, rookie right-hander, and Jason Worth fouling off the first pitch for a strike. So Mott is aboard, leading the Cardinals with 14 holds. Faced 2 batters, struck out both last night. 45th appearance of the year for Mott, 27-year-old from Port Huron, Michigan. And it's in tight. Well, the Just for Men hair color hold leaders, and Jason Mott tied for the lead. Just as the Cardinal hold leaders this season keeps their team in the game, you too can stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Fouled out a play by Worth. 1-2 the count to Worth, who was robbed of extra bases by the defensive play of the game with the catch by Ankiel in the 3rd inning. Walked his first time up. Cardinals doing it with some leather today without question. Have made up a 3-run deficit to take the 1-run lead here into the bottom of the 6th inning. And the count now to Worth's 2-2.
I just heard, and I will tell you, I just heard during the break this past half inning that a manager is trying to win today, and a manager's trying to win today, and I'm trying to win a pennant tomorrow. And that line, that slogan, is hanging on the wall. We talked about Charlie Manuel saying he's 65 years old. He wants to win today as opposed to a younger manager. That plaque is hanging on the wall, or used to be hanging on the wall, of Ernie Accorsi. Accorsi, the ex-general manager of the New York Giants, who's graced us with his presence in the booth today.
Yes, and a great baseball fan, I might add. Great general manager who put together the New York Giant team that won the Super Bowl. He was the architect behind that, and of course, really looked over the shoulders and made sure that the coaches didn't really run the personnel of the ball club.
Right.
He's a Penn Stater, you know, and went to Wake Forest, but worked with Joe Paterno for many years. Knows his stuff. Here's Pedro Feliz, and the first pitch is inside for a ball. So the Phillies have one out and one on here in the sixth inning. And, you know, you were talking about how Charlie Manuel, there's Ernie, who, by the way, was here this week to see the Phillies play the Cubs. Drove to Philadelphia. Sliced out of play. And the count to Feliz, 1 ball and 1 strike.
But that is so appropriate for all sports, that executives understand the feelings of coaches and managers and what have you.
And the thing about Charlie Manuel is that he's an organization man. He
Sure,
knows he won a World Series.
Yeah.
He's thinking from the organization. One of the maybe rare coaches or managers that take that viewpoint, where he is thinking the big picture, whereas a lot of managers, as you say, and coaches say, look, we got to do it right this second.
Well, but because of his age, and my point was because you're 65 years old, how many more shots are you going to have from a human standpoint? I mean, you're not 40 years old anymore.
He's not being selfish is the answer to that. There's a base hit, stroke to right field by Feliz, and Worth will stop at second as the throw comes in. So the Phillies now have the tying run at second with 1 out. Feliz with his second hit of the game. And, of course, Ken Rosenthal aware of what Cole Hamels' feelings were about this.
Right, Dick. And Tim, it's interesting. It's not just managers that want to win today. Cole Hamels told me we all understand the importance of prospects. But if the ultimate goal is to win the World Series, you don't wait for prospects to blossom. I was a prospect at one time. I was untouchable. I'm happy they didn't trade me. But I don't think they ever had a guy of Roy Halladay's stature on the market.
Here's Cole Hamels, or Jay Happ, I should say, who you talked about, lost his first game yesterday. So here's Carlos Ruiz, 0 for 2, with runners at first and second and 1 out. And the first pitch, ball 1 to Ruiz. So the Phillies trying to get back in the game, and they have 26 come from behind wins this year, tied for first with the Dodgers in the National League. And they're looking to come from behind, and there's Greg Dobbs on deck for the Phillies.
You know, Dick, we talked earlier also on the other side, the flip side. You look at Tony La Russa. He's on his last year of his contract. You think the Cardinal management, in an effort to appease Tony La Russa, that didn't...
Fly ball to right field. Ludwig is there, makes the catch on the warning track. Worth went back to second and will not advance, so there are 2 down.
You don't think that didn't impress the Cardinal management? That, hey, we're not only appeasing Albert Pujols by getting Matt Holliday to hit behind him, but we've got to do something about Tony La Russa and show to La Russa that we're trying to win. I mean, the last time the Cardinals had somebody in a situation like that was when they signed Larry Walker in 2004. Right. That's 5 years ago. So, I mean, you're looking at both managers today with the addition of Holliday and the possible addition of Holliday that are really in the same boat.
They are, and of course, there seems to be more urgency for Tony La Russa with the Cardinals under the circumstances.
Yeah,
I would get that feeling. Than it is for Charlie Manuel, not just because he won a World Series last year. But Greg Dobbs is going to bat for Rodrigo Lopez. So Dobbs, who has been a successful pinch hitter, there you see his career pinch hitting numbers this year: 7 for 39, 313 mark with a homer and 3 runs batted in. So Dobbs batting for Lopez with 2 down, runners at first and second. And Jason Mott trying to pitch out of it. Up high, ball one. Phillies have not scored since the 3 runs in the first inning. Good pitch by Mott in on the fist, and Dobbs fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good pitch, good swing.
Dobbs set the Phillies franchise single season record with 22 pinch hits last year. Play the infield and outfield, and the Phillies need him to come through here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Worth is at second, Phillies at first. Fastball swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. We mentioned Jason Mott, one of the pitchers that were forecast to be the Cardinals closer when spring training started. It just didn't happen. And Ryan Franklin, who I think Tony La Russa had in the back of his mind as a dark horse candidate all along, has emerged. 1-2 fastball, back on the screen, still 1-2.
Ryan Franklin was with the Phillies, in fact, several years ago. There's Ryan. And Charlie Manuel said, you know what, you're a starter now, but you belong in the bullpen. Ryan was resistant to that. But then he got to the Cardinals and said, you know, maybe Charlie's right. And here he is, an all-star reliever. It's a great story. Same with Chan Ho Park, I beg your pardon. A better reliever than he is a starter, and he's proven it this year.
2 on and 2 out. Here's the 1-2 from Mott. And hit his bat.
Hit the knob of the bat.
You could hear it. Could have been on his hands, but you could hear that it clearly hit the bat. Let's hear it.
Hit the knob of the bat, and it's a good thing for Dobbs and the Phillies that it did, because if that ball hits flesh, it's trouble.
So the wide stance by Dobbs. Pinch hitter here for Lopez. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Not looking like he was overthrowing on that last pitch. Last year, Kyle McClellan, the Cardinals rookie, appeared in 68 games, and Mott is on a similar pace this year. This is his 45th showing. Tied for most on the Cardinals staff. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball inside, and the full count. Well, this is not what Tony La Russa had envisioned. As you see, Jimmy Rollins on deck for the Phillies, and that is going into his bullpen as he has his 3rd pitcher already, and we're into the 6th inning. Knowing that he has 12 pitchers to work with, and very possibly adding another one tomorrow in the series finale. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the runners will be off on the next pitch, but time is called, and the crowd, and they do boo here once in a while in Philadelphia.
Oh, come on, they do not.
Well, once in a while, as Molina goes out to talk it over with Mott. I mean, you played here, didn't you? I mean, they never booed you.
Yeah, well.
They didn't mean it if they did.
Only my close friends did.
You had a lot of those. Again, the 3-2 pitch. The runners are off. Ball 4 outside. And the bases are loaded for Jimmy Rollins. So the second walk issued by Mott. Consternation for Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan.
Here's an interesting matchup because of what we said before. We talked about Jimmy Rollins and the long swing. You can't have a long swing against a pitcher like this because the ball's on top of you too quickly. Guy throws 96, 97 miles an hour. Have to be short and quick.
So the crowd, many of the fans on their feet, great fans here in Philadelphia, very knowledgeable and have been. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 3, but facing Mott for the first time, takes a call strike. Phillies have the bases loaded with 2 down, trailing 4-3 in the 6th inning. Worth the runner at third. Feliz is at second, and the pinch hitter Dobbs on at first. This year, Jimmy Rollins has drawn the donut, 0 for 8 with the bases loaded. And there's a fly ball, right field, near the foul line, near the foul pole, it's gone! Grand slam homer for Rollins. They just filled in that donut. Second career grand slam for Jimmy Rollins. Last one 6 years ago against the Florida Marlins. Shane Victorino takes ball 1, and Rollins with an extra bow. 1-0 the count to Victorino, who has 2 hits and a walk. And a fly ball hit deep to right field. Ludwig is going back, looking up, and this one is out of here. Victorino with a home run, back to back. The grand slam homer put the Phils up 7-4, and now they've doubled the Cardinals 8-4 on Victorino's homer.
Back-to-back short, quick swings. First Rollins. And then Victorino.
July 7th was the last time the Phillies hit back-to-back home runs. Dave Duncan out there just to settle down Jason Mott, and the damage may have been done, although we're still in the bottom of the 6th inning, and it was Howard and Worth who hit the back-to-back home runs earlier this month. So for Rollins, 9 homers and 42 runs batted in. Victorino now 7 homers, 44 RBIs. 5 runs have come up and crossed the plate here in the 6th inning. 8-4 the score as Chase Utley 0 for 2 with a walk. And the count is 1-0 to Utley. So the key walk to Dobbs, the pinch hitter, to load the bases. And then Jimmy Rollins followed with a grand slam homer into the lower right field stands, followed by Shane Victorino.
That's a good point, Dick, because after the calm of Dobbs came the storm of Rollins and Victorino. Great at bat by Dobbs, working the count to 3-2. The fastball missed, and then Rollins took the first fastball from Mott and hammered the second one, and then Victorino on the first pitch hits a home run.
Dennis Reyes warming up for the Cardinals, as now the Phillies with 8 runs on 8 hits, and the Cardinals with 4 runs on 10 hits. And again, Jimmy Rollins, who has been on a tear ever since breaking out of his career-long 0 for 28 slump that has really been plaguing him all season long. Curveball, extra bases, past Pujols into the right field corner. Utley on his way to second. Ludwig finally retrieves, and it'll be a double for Chase Utley. So 3 straight extra base hits by the Phillies, who had squandered a 3-0 lead. And Tony La Russa on the phone again.
Yeah, you got to make a move here. Got to stop the bleeding, and the bleeding will be stopped by Dennis Reyes. Home run, double. tell you the sextet of these Phillies, their first 6 hitters, as dominant as any back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back hitters in baseball. Were there enough backs in that?
Yeah. Well, here's back-to-back right here again. Jimmy Rollins, St. Victorino. One was the grand slam, that by Rollins. Here in the 6th inning as Ryan Howard fouls off the first pitch from the newest Cardinal pitcher, Dennis Reyes. As Jason Mott giving up back-to-back homers, the grand slam to Rollins, and Victorino followed with a solo homer, and all of the runs coming after 2 are out. Broken bat, bounding ball to third, fielded nicely by DeRosa, who was screened by Utley, and that'll do it. Good play by DeRosa, and Howard's upset. Thought he had beaten the throw, but that's the last out. 5-run score, and we will be back to Philadelphia right after these messages from your local Fox station. Baseball presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. And the new pitcher for the Phillies is Chan-Ho Park. And the pinch hitter, Nick Stavanoa, batting in the pitcher's position. Stavanoa takes a strike. So here's Chan-Ho Park, making his 22nd relief appearance. Has started 7 games this year.
Yeah, we talked about Park and how he has thrived in the bullpen.
Ground ball hit sharply to Rollins. And Stavanoa is retired. The pinch hitter goes down, 1 out for the Cardinals in the 7th.
Dick, that was a terrific call on that ball because that's exactly what happened to Mark DeRosa. He was screened by the runner Utley. The play at first, Ryan Howard was right. He was safe and not out, but the Cardinals got the call. That was a very difficult play by Mark DeRosa. We talked about his football quarterbacking at the University of Pennsylvania earlier. Utley was almost like a pulling guard then.
Well, if he were to go play pro football, he'd be the Wildcat. He'd play in the Wildcat offense as Skip Schumacher.
That's a good play by DeRosa. And the Cardinals got the call. I guess if you make plays like that, you should get the call.
Right. Schumacher with a count 1-1.
You got to explain that Wildcat offense.
Yes, I know. Well, it was established really by the Miami Dolphins and Dan Henning, where the direct snap. I ought to bring Ernie in here to talk about it. Ernie, of course, he knows more about it than I do, but is a direct snap, and it's either a quarterback or running back, and he runs, and it's very dangerous offensive play. Ryan Howard backhanding it, can't make a play, and Schumacher is aboard. So the Cardinals, with 1 out, get a base runner.
Second error of the game by Ryan Howard. He tries to backhand this ball, kind of caught in between. By the time he recovers, too late to get Schumacher.
So 2 errors on the Phillies and 2 on Ryan Howard. Little matador situation at first, perhaps. The ball was hit with some gusto, and so Schumacher is aboard, and here's Julio Lugo. Cardinals are trailing by 4 runs, 8-4 in the 7th inning. And here's Lugo, who's all he's done, 2 singles and a double, stolen base, and an RBI. And this coming off his first start in the Cardinal uniform last night when he homered and tripled. And career-wise against Lugo, hitting .448. Has 35 hits and 78 trips. So Lugo loves going against the Phillies, apparently. And the first pitch, ball 1 from Chan-Ho Park. Now there's a little laser.
Yeah, I think somebody from the stands does that, and that's a very dangerous thing, particularly when a guy's either pitching or not, but it can be very serious on the eyes. And I have no idea who's doing that, but I think Lugo is pointing someplace over the Phillies dugout. That's we've seen that before at ballparks.
I'm talking to Jim Wolf about that. And stepping out the first time. Here's the 2-0 pitch, fastball, 2 balls and a strike to Lugo. Julio Lugo, who hit .308 for Tampa Bay in 06, and then in the 07 World Series hit .375. So he has performed under tough circumstances. Lays one down, and it'll be foul down the third base line as Feliz was playing back. Right now, let's take a look at the in-game box score for the St. Louis Cardinals, brought to you by Hyundai, introducing the all-new 306 horsepower real wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. And whether it's day or night, to be Hyundai, and that's what it is. So there you see Lugo with 3 hits, Ludwig with 2, and DeRosa quietly has a couple of hits. And there is Ankiel, who has made a great transformation as been well chronicled. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Lugo with Pujols on deck. Breaking pitch in there, strike 3. So Lugo called out on strikes for out number 2.
That's a knee-buckling breaking ball from Park. After one fastball after another, the curveball gets Lugo. Watch the knees buckle. All you boxing fans out there familiar with a blow in the sweet spot.
Wasn't from a right hand, but just a right.
right.
Here's Pujols, 0 for 3. And Jim Wolf going over to the Phillies dugout to talk to Charlie Manuel.
Yeah, you know that's intentional. I mean, and Charlie Manuel
and they would ask
that shot. That is so dangerous. It's a green dot. Some fan ridiculously doing that to a hitter. You just wonder what goes into their minds. You can see that dot right around the shoulders. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're trying to get it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Now they have ushers roaming the area. And tell you what, if you were a fan down there, you do yourself proud to point to the perpetrator and say to the usher, he's doing it.
You're exactly right.
And now Jim Wolf has gone over to talk to the Cardinals bench, Tony La Russa.
Yeah, you can see Julio Lugo coming out, and you kind of understand his point. I mean, how is he to be expected to hit with something like this going on? I mean, he ends up striking out, but that's absurd.
Come to the game and watch the game.
Right.
Don't be a part of the game, and don't try to affect the performers and ruining it for these other fans. And I'll tell you what, Tony La Russa, the last thing he ever would want to see is any kind of a wrongful light, however it is,
certainly,
on the face of any of his players. Crew chief is Gary Cederstrom, and he is right behind the home plate umpire, Jim Wolf. And those...
You're right. I mean, the security comes down there, and if you're sitting next to somebody doing that, unless you're allied with him in some way, him or her, point him out. It's ridiculous.
And what it also does is it delays the game, the rhythm.
Sure.
You know, that Chan-Ho Park, may feel he's established out there.
Yeah.
There's Davey Lopes, first base coach, Charlie Manuel, and there is Cederstrom, who's behind the home plate umpire, Jim Wolf. Lugo, who was the first...
He was victimized.
Yeah, I was going to say, quote-unquote victim.
Absolutely.
And now Pujols is in that role. Have you seen anything like that before?
I have seen that before at a ballpark. And it's not only dangerous to the eyes, it's dangerous to an at-bat. It's obviously, and it's so cowardly, and they ought to make an announcement, and I would think that would be forthcoming.
Right. I mean, somebody could hide it. Someone could.
Sure.
You're not going to hold it up, so it'd be tougher.
I think your point is well taken, Dick. The best person to know that is a person sitting next to that person who's doing it.
And I would have to say that if they're going to attempt it again, and I would kind of doubt it after all the ushers are there, that they're going to have to put their hand up to do it, and a fan next to them or close to them would have to point them out.
I would hope so.
And hopefully we don't even have it again.
Not on camera. He talked.
Ken Rosenthal is down there. We may get something from him. Here's the pitch to Albert Pujols. And the pitch is missing. And it's 1-0. Ken Rosenthal, what'd you find out?
Dick, Julio Lugo said that there was indeed a light in his eyes. It happened 2 times. And I asked him if it affected him on the pitch he struck out on. And he said no, that was a good pitch.
Yeah, but you're skittish. If you have an at-bat and you've had the light shine in your eyes, I mean, you're skittish.
You can't concentrate.
No.
1 ball and 1 strike to Pujols. Chan-Ho Park. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chan-Ho Park, you talked about him in July, 0.75 earned run average. In 6 appearances, has given up only 1 earned run in 12 innings. So in a season in which the Phillies bullpen has been in disarray for many reasons, including injury, Chan-Ho Park has been big. Foul back. It remains 1-2. Phillies lead at 8-4. Albert Pujols 0 for 3 in the game. Cardinals were down 3-0 after 1. Got single runs in the 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Only to see the Phillies answer the 6th inning with 5 runs, including a Jimmy Rollins grand slam. And now Pujols lines a base hit to center field. First hit of the game for Albert. It comes with 2 out, and going to second base is Schumacher. Well, the Cardinals have gotten at least a hit in every inning through the first 7. That'll bring up Matt Holliday. Josh Kinney has been throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. Cardinals have already used 4 pitchers today. So Park is facing Matt Holliday. Holliday 1 for 3 with a double and a scored a run. First pitch missing outside for a ball. Holliday tying a career high with 4 hits last night in his Cardinal debut. Coming over from the Oakland A's. Major trade for the Cardinals. And talk about Brett Wallace. You know, you say, well, you don't want to give up your young players. Well, Brett Wallace is a gem. Third baseman for the Cardinals. And Clayton Mortensen, a right-handed pitcher, another outstanding prospect. 2 out of the 3 prospects given up by St. Louis. And there's a shot to left field, and Ibanez will see it bounce off the wall. Schumacher will score, and going to third base is Pujols on the double by Matt Holliday, his 2nd double of the game, and the RBI. And so now it is an 8-5 game. And the tying run coming to the plate in Ryan Ludwig, who has hit a home run today.
Matt Holliday with his 6th hit in less than 24 hours. 4 last night, 2 today. Already paying dividends. No question about the fact that he can flat out play. Good play by Ibanez to hold Pujols to third.
So here's Ludwig. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. 2 away. Ludwig with a home run and a single in 3 trips. Inside, ball 1. Ludwig's home run was his 17th of the year. Came leading off the 2nd inning. Chan-Ho Park trying to pitch out of trouble and not helped along by an error. Fastball fouled back. Here is the home run by Ludwig in the 2nd inning.
On that breaking ball from Lopez, that put the Cardinals on the board, and a key hit right here would put the Cardinals right back into this game.
And that home run just inside the left field foul pole. Pujols at 3rd. Now back on the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Top of the 7th inning, Chan-Ho Park in relief of Rodrigo Lopez, who is the pitcher of record for the Phillies. Here's Park's 1-2 pitch. Ludwig strikes out. And that'll do it as the Cardinals get a run and leave 2 runners in scoring position. We move to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Phillies in front 8-5. League Baseball, and sponsored by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color, and by Progressive Insurance, the freedom to name your price. And the new pitcher for the Cardinals is Josh Kinney in an 8-5 Phillies lead. Cardinals have out-hit the Phillies 12-9, and here is Kinney making his 15th relief appearance. 30-year-old from Allegheny, Pennsylvania. Last pitch Tuesday at Houston, worked 2/3 of an inning, and missed all of 07, most of last year with Tommy John surgery.
And a different pitcher for the Cardinals, and will it be a different pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies this coming week? And here's the sign. Keep J. Happ.
Now that's unusual for a fan to do that, right?
There's a fan who wants J. Happ, the left-hander, lost his first game last night. Even got the winning percentage. The earned run average down. Jay has done a terrific job, but he has been said to be included in the trade if the Halladay deal is made by the Phillies.
With Kyle Drabeck as well. Ibanez, 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a run batted in. And a line drive, foul ball down the right field line.
You know, one of the interesting things about the Halladay trade is his number is 32. And if he's traded to the Phillies, number 32's already taken.
As you would know.
Yeah, by the tall left-hander. Steve Carlton's number 32 was retired. He won 251 games for the Phillies since the trade for Rick Wise in the spring of 1972. What a remarkable career he had, 329 career wins.
Ibanez fouls it off. Speaking of Rick Wise, on the day that Jim Bunning pitched his perfect game, speaking of perfect games for the Phillies,
Father's
on
Day
Father's Day of
64,
Rick Wise made his debut pitching the second half of that doubleheader against the Mets. It was his first Major League appearance.
I did not know that. How about that?
No balls and 2 strikes to Ibanez, followed by Worth and Feliz, and strikes him out. So Kinney on an off-speed pitch, and Ibanez strikes out. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, congratulates Jimmy Rollins, who hit the Grand Slam home run last inning, and Shane Victorino, who followed with a solo home run. Today's MLB Clutch Performer of the Game, presented by Pepsi. Learn more about the MLB Clutch Performer of the Month award at PepsiClutch.com. By the way, for Rollins, he tied a career high with 4 runs batted in. He did it on 1 swing as Jason Worth takes ball 1 from Kinney. Worth today 0 for 1 officially, has walked twice, and that 0 for 1 was an extra base hit robbed by Ankiel, but Worth singles with 1 out here in the 7th inning.
We brought up Rick Wise, and we're going to bring him up again. Rick Wise, with Mark Burley pitching the perfect game this last week, Rick Wise may have had, arguably, the best night of any pitcher ever in 1971 against the Cincinnati Reds, when he pitches a no-hitter and hits 2 two-run home runs to drive in 4 of the 5 runs for the Phillies that evening. Next year, he was a member of the Cardinals.
And Feliz is hit by the pitch. Pedro Feliz will go down to first base, and Jason Worth will go to second base as Josh Kinney now has 2 runners on base with 1 out, right below the left shoulder. So Feliz is on at first base for the first time reaching. Brad Thompson warming up in the bullpen. You know, the other thing about Rick Wise, who, by the way, pitched for the Cardinals, as you know, was the winning pitcher in the 6th game of the 75 World Series when Carlton Fisk hit that famous home run in the 12th inning.
I remember that. Greatest win of his career.
It was. I kind of remember it a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah. I guess so, since you called it.
8-5 to score, and Ruiz fouls it off for a strike.
But more importantly, that was the night you met your wife.
Yes, it was. Yes. Leslie Visser, who was named the #1 female sportscaster of all time last week.
How about that? That is just wonderful.
This is family day here at the ballpark. Matt Stairs has it, and there goes the runner from second base, and Jason Worth gets to third. Stolen base by Jason Worth, and runners now at first and third.
You see a runner going from first to second standing up. You rarely see an uncontested steal of third with a runner standing up. That's stolen base number 13 for Worth.
They count to Ruiz. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out. And a ground ball through the hole into left field and a base hit. Worth will score. Feliz will go to second. And Ruiz now with his 23rd RBI of the year. And the Phillies now lead by a score of 9-5. And the pinch hitter Matt Stairs coming up against Josh Kinney. Runners now at first and second, still with 1 away. And here is Stairs. 4 homers and 11 runs batted in as a pinch hitter this season.
That leads the majors in both categories. And he's one of the favorites here in Philadelphia. A man who says that on every pitch that's thrown to him, he tries to hit the ball as hard as he can.
Nothing wrong with that.
And as far as he can.
His last home run was on July 11th, the last pinch hit home run. And the count is 2 balls and no strikes. 9-5, the Phillies lead. Been a wild game, really, in many respects. Phillies leading 3-0 in the first. Cardinals took a 4-3 lead in the 6th, only to see the Phillies get 5 runs. Cardinals come back with 1, and now the Phillies have answered that with a run. And Kinney falls behind the pinch hitter Stairs 3-0 with, guess who, Jimmy Rollins coming up next. So there's Rollins with his 2nd career grand slam. And Victorino, who hit a home run following Rollins, who's perfect on the day. And Matt Holliday has come through with another good game for the Cardinals. In there for the strike, 3-1. Foul back. Full count now to Matt Stairs. Here's Rollins waiting to hit. Jimmy Rollins exploded the grand slam home run and has a chance to come up with the bases loaded again if Kinney loses Stairs. One out. And Kinney taking his time, and the crowd not pleased. But Kinney's got a big mission in front of him now, and an off the fist ground ball. Schumacher gets the force to throw to first, not in time. So there are 2 down, and Feliz moves to third. Stairs got that in on the fist and is safe on a fielder's choice with Ruiz.
Good breaking ball from Josh Kinney and a good play by Skip Schumacher. Too much to do from Lugo to get the double play.
So here's Jimmy Rollins. And after a quiet first 3 at-bats, came up with the bases loaded. And this is after Dobbs, the pinch hitter, was walked to load him up with 2 out. Slammed a grand slam home run into the right field seats. There's a shot to right field. And it's a fair ball into the corner. Feliz will score. And they're going to hold Stairs at third. An RBI double for Jimmy Rollins. So a grand slam homer and a run-scoring double in as many innings. And the Phillies now are up 10-5.
Fastball down and in, and Jimmy Rollins' first ball hitting drives in run number 9 for the Phillies. Make that run number 10.
And a career high 5 runs batted in for Jimmy Rollins in a single game. And Tony La Russa going to the mound. He talked to us earlier about the fact that he has 12 pitchers today and was hoping that he would not. Here's Thompson, who was throwing earlier, that he would not be forced into going deep into his bullpen. But Brad Thompson, if he gets called upon, would be the 6th pitcher. But La Russa going back to the dugout. Well, you know, it's Family Day, but it's 5 months to the day before Christmas, and they celebrated it with the 87-degree temperatures. They were playing music like it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas before the game. Santa was here. And they had a special menu, frozen drinks and chicken sliders here.
All right.
Great food. And you know, in this ballpark, the food comes first, doesn't it?
Excellent.
Food is big time here.
Gotta love it here in South Philly. Food is king.
Yes, it is.
Food, the Phillies, and the Eagles.
Shane Victorino with a base hit to right field. Stairs will score. They're going to send Rollins in. Play at the plate, not in time. And it's 12-5. The Phillies lead. Victorino with his 4th hit of the game and his 2nd run batted in. And for the Philly fanatic and all the fans on Family Day getting autographs and pictures, and yes, Christmas 5 months away.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It is.
Breaking ball and Victorino now. What a day Victorino has had. Home run, 3 RBIs, stolen base. He's been on base 5 times in 5 at-bats.
So a 4-run 7th inning. And a foul ball hit by Utley, who has a double in 3 trips, has also walked. So the Phillies have their hitting shoes on today. And look at those crooked numbers, as a lot of people, including Tony La Russa, likes to call it. 3 in the 1st, 5 in the 6th, 4 here in the 7th. 2 outs. And the pitch taken for a ball by Utley, 1-1. So Jimmy Rollins. How about the last 2 innings for Jimmy Rollins? 5 runs batted in. Most he's had in a single game in his career. Kinney's 1-1 pitch. Check swing. And it's a ball, 2-1. Well, what a difference a day or night makes. Last night, the Phillies were 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Today, they are an impressive 6 for 12. Foul ball, 2-2. This is the 15th time this year that the Phillies have scored 10 or more runs. And almost parenthetically to say that they have won the previous 14.
Our pal Chris Wheeler telling me earlier in the year, he said this lineup can bludgeon the opposition. And boy, is that the appropriate word, bludgeon.
You know, for a while it looked like it was 1 inning and done for the Phillies. They got those 3 runs, Tim, in the 1st inning. And then the Cardinals pecked away, took that 4-3 lead. And it looked like that the Phillies were going to be quieted. Not the last 2 innings. 9 runs crossing the plate. Utley, good swing, gets a piece of it, and it remains 3-2. Nine men went to the plate last inning for the Phillies. And Utley is the 8th hitter here in the 7th. And the ball off the glove of Molina. It's ball 4 in any event. No advance at second by Victorino. So Utley's aboard with a walk. 2nd time he's been passed. Runners now at 1st and 2nd. And Ryan Howard comes to the plate. And now Tony La Russa, who went out to talk to Kinney. And he's got Thompson coming out. And a double switch is coming up for the Cardinals. We'll have it all for you. Thompson will come in from the bullpen. We'll tell you about the other move when we return. into Chicago to take on the White Sox. Or the Dodgers battle the Braves, or the Royals square off against the Rays. But that Yankee-White Sox game, the big one, Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Gillette Body Wash, returns next week at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. Yankees 10-3 in their last 13 games against the White Sox in Chicago. Joe Thurston will go to second base, and Skip Schumacher will replace Ryan Ludwig in right field. Brad Thompson is the new pitcher for the Cardinals. He is the sixth pitcher of the day for St. Louis. And facing Ryan Howard, 0 for 4, struck out his first 2 times up, and appeared to be safe on the ground ball his last time. Takes a big cut and fouls it off.
Skip Schumacher, the second baseman, he goes in and changes his glove. The second base glove much smaller than the outfielder's glove. So he goes from second base to right field with a different glove. Outfielders' gloves are about 3 inches longer than infielders' gloves. And the reason infielders have smaller gloves is because they need to make quicker throws. Get in the glove and get it out in a hurry.
There's Thurston's glove, as you pointing out exactly what you're talking about. Ryan Howard, breaking ball, taken for a strike. It's 1-2. So Schumacher, who played the previous 4 years in the outfield before moving to second this year, on the double switch. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ryan Howard, check swing foul. So in the last 2 innings, 6th and the 7th, the Phillies have sent 9 men to the plate. And of course, if Howard gets on, Ibanez would be the 10th. Brad Thompson down low, 2-2. Thompson pitched the scoreless 9th inning last night and has been shuttled between the starting role and the bullpen. Thompson has made 8 starts and making his 11th relief appearance here. Count is 2-2 to Ryan Howard. And the count is full, 3-2. And checking to see which Phillies have not hit safely today. Well, the number 9 spot hasn't. And Ryan Howard has not. Everyone else has hit safely for the Phillies. There's Ibanez hoping to get a chance. Here's the 3-2 pitch and a foul tip. The runners were off and they'll come back.
From a catcher's standpoint, it seems that more foul tips that hurt come in games like this. Blowouts.
Why would that be?
I don't know. I think it's the baseball gods adding insult to injury. Not only do you catch a game where your pitchers, 6 of them so far, give up 12 runs, but you get a foul tip. That's somehow not fair.
And I don't know if there's any similarity, but maybe in football you have a blowout game and players get hurt. There go the runners, and the ball is scolded to right center field, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. Victorino and Utley will score. Ryan Howard will stop at second. 2 more runs for the Phillies. So Ryan Howard hitting safely. RBIs number 71 and 72. And it's 14-5 in favor of Philadelphia.
First hit for Ryan Howard today. Double number 22 on the year.
A 6-run 7th inning on top of a 5-run 6th for the Phillies. And here's Raul Ibanez, who is up for the 5th time in the game. And he started this 7th inning by striking out.
In fact, Ibanez has struck out the last 2 innings in which the Phillies have batted around.
And a line shot on 1 hop to Pujols, flips to Thompson, and the inning is over, but not before 10 men come to the plate, and 6 runs for the Phillies, who take a 14-5 lead into the 8th. lead and 14 hits. And the Cardinals batting in the 8th inning. Rick Ankiel leading off against Stephen Register, who's making his first appearance in a Philly uniform. And on the first pitch, Ankiel drives one in the gap in right center field and will wind up with a double. So Ankiel with a homer and a double his last 2 times up. Eric Bruntlett is the new second baseman, and John Mayberry has replaced Ibanez in left field. And Stephen Register, 26-year-old native of Columbus, Georgia, just called up from the Phillies Lehigh Valley AAA Farm Club in 10 games with Columbus. Had a 9.00 earned run average. Played his college ball at Auburn. And the first pitch to Mark DeRosa, outside ball 1. DeRosa been on base 3 times today. Single, double, and a walk. Here's the 1-0. Down low. 2 balls and no strikes. So Rodrigo Lopez, who stands to be the winning pitcher for the Phillies yet again, and may be the winner in his 3rd straight start. If things hold and the Phillies are way in front. Foul ball. 2-1. Let's take a look at the last 2 innings. There, the number of batters: 11 runs, 9 hits, 5 extra base hits. And DeRosa hits a foul fly, and that will go out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mark DeRosa. So both teams are going to their reserves in the latter stages of this game. But this game, for all intents and purposes, out of hand. Check swing. They appeal, and the first base umpire, Brian O'Nora, indicates DeRosa did not go around. Jason LaRue is on deck for the Cardinals. Will bat for Yadier Molina. There's LaRue. Phillies sending in replacements here in this inning at second and in left field. High fly ball to left field. Mayberry coming over toward the line. Makes the catch on the warning track for the first out, and Keel goes back to second. Now it's time for the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Attention Assist of the game. And this was sensational play made by Rick Ankiel, robbing Jason Worth of what looked to be a home run. And this was in the 3rd inning when it was a 3-1 game at the time. Phillies in front. Cardinals had taken a 4-3 lead in the 6th, only to see the Phillies break it open with 5 in the 6th and 6 more in the 7th. So here is LaRue batting for the first time. 30th game of the season. Backup catcher to Yadier Molina. 1 out, runner at second. Swings and misses on that off-speed breaking ball.
Cardinals and the Phillies wrap things up their season series tomorrow, 135 games. So I would imagine LaRue will stay in the game, and Molina, unless the Cardinals score 5 or 6 runs in this inning, Molina will be taken out of the game.
Joe Thurston, who went in the double switch, is on deck for the Cardinals, and that one will hit LaRue, and he'll go down to first base. So runners now at first and second, and Keel there with the leadoff double with 1 out, and Joe Thurston coming up.
If you're going to get hit, that's the place to get hit, not the lead arm.
So here's Joe Thurston batting .231 on the year with a homer and 24 runs batted in. Two on and 1 away. Thurston in the number 9 spot. Way ahead of that off-speed pitch for strike 1 from Stephen Register. Joe Thurston, who appeared in 18 games for the Phillies 3 seasons ago, now going against his former club. That pitch is outside, 1-1. Wild game, and it's interesting if you would say, well, the Cardinals have a hit, at least a hit in each inning, have 13 hits in the game. You say, well, they may be comfortably in front. They're down by 9. Thurston cuts and misses 1 and 2. Two homers for the Cardinals today. Ludwig with a leadoff homer in the second, and Keel with a 1-out homer in the 6th. And the Phillies with back-to-back homers in the 6th inning. Jimmy Rollins with a grand slam, followed by Shane Victorino. Victorino's solo home run. And the Phillies were not done yet.
Victorino, the only position player from Hawaii ever to be chosen for an all-star game. His gift to the president, macadamia nuts.
Why not?
And he is as tough as a macadamia nut tree.
And the Phillies had all 3 starting outfielders.
Yeah. I mean, how many times does one team have a center fielder start the all-star game and yet another center fielder from the same team finish the all-star game? Victorino started, Worth finished it. How many teams have athletic outfielders that good like the Phillies have?
I think in an all-star game, I don't know if that's ever happened before.
In my memory, I don't. It's actually, the center fielders, there have been center fielders from the same team, Bobby Bonds and Willie Mays back in, I think it was 71.
You don't know if they started and finished.
But to have started and finished, I don't think that's ever been done.
3-2 pitch, the runner's off with 1 out, and it lands in the box seats down the left field line.
But it just gives you an idea, I mean, of the adaptability and the athletic ability of the Phillies outfield. You have Ibanez, a terrific left fielder. Victorino can play right or center, and now he's having fun with a guy who can play center field or right, Jason Worth.
Full count to Joe Thurston, 1 out. And Keel and LaRue, the base runners. And they're off with 1 out. The pitch, strike 3, the throw to third, not in time. So the double steal is successful, but Thurston strikes out for out number 2. Now runners at second and third.
The reason that double steal was successful was because with 2 strikes, the catcher has to wait and get the strike, particularly with the 9-run lead. That's why there was a delay on Ruiz's part. He wanted the out. The throw was secondary. So no stolen base on that? Really? Why not?
Well, so here is Skip Schumacher. Well, the runners had to advance for something.
Why, yeah. I mean, I've never seen indifference given on a double steal of second and third.
Especially when there was a throw to third,
yeah, absolutely.
And the third baseman was there.
Yeah.
And if there had been a play, would have put the tag on.
Sure. You had both runners running the throw because Ruiz had to stay back and get the strike.
They changed it, and it's a double steal.
Yeah,
so
it makes sense.
I don't know where that came from.
No, I don't either.
1-1 to count to Skip Schumacher, and Keel sliding into third. And let's see. They see a replay. Ground ball hit to Ryan Howard. Will handle it himself to end the inning. We'll see whether and Keel had his foot stepped on, Tim. Yeah, he did. His hand, His hand stepped on by Pedro Feli's foot. That'll do it. 14-5, bottom of the 8th. The official partner of Major League Baseball road trips by Cataway and by the all-new Mercedes-Benz E-Class. Well, the Phillies come up in the bottom of the 8th inning, leading 14-5. Jason LaRue going behind the plate, replacing Yadier Molina. Jason Worth, been on base 3 times today, 2 walks and a single, has scored a run and a stolen base. 1-0 the count from Brad Thompson. In tight. Kyle Lowe started, allowed 3 runs in 4 innings. Jason Mott, who stands to be the losing pitcher, gave up 4 runs in a third of an inning, including those 2 home runs. Good play by DeRosa at third, across to make the play on Worth, and there's 1 away in the 8th inning. And the game-changing play here brought to you by Holiday Inn. Signs of change are everywhere. How has Rollins changed his season from early going? Grand slam home run for Jimmy Rollins, and he knocked in another run in the 7th. This was in the 6th, so 5 RBIs, a career high for him. Pedro Feliz looks at a slider for a strike from Brad Thompson. And Josh Kinney gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. But Smiles in the dugout for the Phillies. Slow hit ground ball to Lugo. And there are 2 gone in the bottom of the 8th. So what a turnaround for Jimmy Rollins, Tim.
That included an 0 for 28 skid. Since that time, J-Roll, affectionately known, what a great nickname, J-Roll. Batting over 370 since that 0 for 28 skid. And the Phillies have responded, as they often do, when Jimmy's on a roll.
Ruiz taking a strike from Brad Thompson. 2 down. Bases clear here in the 8th inning. So Jason Mott is the pitcher of record for the Cardinals, and Rodrigo Lopez, who worked 6 innings. Foul out of play, and it's 1-2.
I tell you, in a game like this, if you're a starting catcher, that bat feels about twice as heavy.
Right.
Because you scored 14 runs. You've been back there. You were back there last night. There are a lot of giveaway at bats for catchers up the 4th and 5th times during a game.
Line drive right to DeRosa, and a 1-2-3 inning. So the Cardinals are coming up in their last chance in the 9th inning, way down to the Phillies. introducing the all-new Fox Fantasy Football with more customizable features and new ways to play. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN and join the next generation of fantasy football. Cardinals batting in the top of the 9th inning as Steven Register working his second inning, and Julio Lugo, who is 3 for 4, 2 singles, a double, and a run batted in. Cardinals trailing the Phillies by 9 runs. And a big day today with 45,182, the 43rd sellout for the Phillies this season. And the Phillies are 3 outs away of evening this series at 1 apiece. And Lugo hits it out to center field. Victorino going way back, still going back, and he can't make the play. Bounces on the base of the wall. Lugo heading for third will be in there with a triple. Lugo. 4 hits for Lugo. A double, a triple, and 2 singles, and he had a triple and a home run last night.
Well, once again, a guy who is using all parts of the field in which to hit. And when he does that, Jose Oquendo, the third base coach, was out early with him today, talking to him about some shortstop. The major rap on Lugo, it's not his speed, not his power, not his hitting necessarily. The major rap is messing up routine ground balls. That's where most of his errors come.
Albert Pujols taking ball 1 inside.
But I really think Lugo, we talked about it earlier, I think Lugo's going to help the Cardinals.
Got a new life here.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes that's just what you need. Fastball in for the strike, 1-1. Pujols today is 1 for 4 with a single. He has flied out twice and bounced into a double play. Inside. 2-1 to Pujols. Cardinals have 14 hits today. Foul back. They've had 2 hits in 4 of those innings. They had a 4-3 lead in the 6th inning. Rick Ankiel putting the Cardinals in front, only to see the Phillies answer with 5 runs. And then 6 more in the 7th. Just getting a piece of it is Pujols. 2-2 the count.
Had Albert not swung at that ball may have hit him. It's one of those situations where you hit it before it hits you. This is so far inside. Register trying to come inside. The ball tailing in on him. Albert with the piece of it before it got a piece of him.
Steven Register facing Albert Pujols and bounces a foul. So Register, welcome to the big leagues. But of course has the comfort of a 9-run lead. And of course the Phillies looking to extend their lead to a full 6 games as the Braves and the Marlins both have night games today. There's a foul ball down the third base line. And for the Cardinals, with the Cubs winning today, their lead will be shaved to a half a game over the Cubs.
And excuse me, Dick, that means that the Cubs will have won 3 in a row. And I hearken to like back in early July when a Cubs fan named Daniel Kamen said he was going on a hunger strike of 500 calories a day until the Cubs won 5 in a row.
Wow.
They haven't won 5 in a row yet.
Ground ball hit to shortstop, and Lugo will score. And Pujols is retired. And an RBI for Albert Pujols. And now a direct TV game break. Bottom of the 9th inning. White Sox leading 3-2. Curtis Granderson doubles down the right field line off Bobby Jenks. Adam Everett ties the score. And then in the bottom of the 10th inning, 2 on, nobody out. Carlos Guillen singles to center off DJ Carrasco. Cleek Thomas scores, and the Tigers win it 4-3 in the bottom of the 10th inning. And those two rivals going at it. In fact, the White Sox were tied for first place, but the Tigers have won the last couple and now have opened up a 3-game lead over Chicago in the AL Central.
That, of course, the Chicago White Sox on the south side of Chicago. The Cubs on the north side. And Daniel Kamen has been 25 days since his 500 calorie a day hunger strike. So I've never seen Daniel Kamen, but he probably weighs about 135 pounds right now.
Well, I know, but that's a lot.
500 calories a day, that's not a lot of food.
Yeah, but if you say I'm going to do it for 100 years till the Cubs finally win a world championship, that's going to take its toll.
Well, it probably seems like 100 years since they've won 5 in a row.
2 balls and a strike to Matt Holliday. 1 out. Lugo led off with a triple and scored. 14-6 in favor of the Phillies. And the count now 3-1 to Holliday, who has a pair of doubles today and a run batted in. 1 out here in the Cardinal ninth. Ball 4, and Holliday is on. The producer of today's game is Pete Macheska. The director, Ray Tipton, and the associate director is Kathy Hunt. The broadcast associate, Brian Biederman. Our technical producer, Sid Drexler, and the technical director, Scott Daly. Pre-game show is produced by Don Bowie. The highlights coordinator is Janice Kazaza, and the technical supervisor, Jack Simmons. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers are David Hill and Ed Gorin. Brendan Ryan is pinch hitting. And coming up tonight on Fox, Cops at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and then followed by America's Most Wanted. And a line drive, gloved by Feliz for out number 2. And getting back to first is Holliday. So the Cardinals are down to their last out. So with 2 down, here is Rick Ankiel, who has made 2 glittering catches, one a sensational one, and a home run, which gave the Cardinals the lead at the time in the 6th inning, was also doubled. But the Philadelphia Phillies, headed for their 27th come-from-behind victory. That would be the best in the National League, surpassing the Dodgers to this point by 1. Foul out of play. And the big blow, the 5-run 6th and then a 6-run 7th inning. And in the 6th inning, Jimmy Rollins with a grand slam home run. The Phillies' 8th grand slam this year, which ties their franchise record. 2-1 to Ankiel. Three and 1. So Rodrigo Lopez, who started the season in AAA and coming back from Tommy John surgery, will be headed for his 3rd straight victory as a start. Swing and miss, and it's 3-2. And the Philly crowd on its feet. An enjoyable afternoon. Just think, Christmas 5 months away. And a foul ball. And a great play made there. Well, it's going to be interesting, Tim, what happens as the trading deadline approaches.
It really will be.
31st.
Yeah, trading deadline midnight of Friday, the 31st of this month. And will Roy Halladay be a member of the Phillies before then?
And Keel pops it up. Pedro Feliz near the dugout, and it's out of play as it drops into the Cardinal dugout. And, of course, next week, the White Sox and the Yankees. White Sox losing to the Tigers. And after the great momentum of Burley's perfect game and getting into a tie, falling 3 behind Detroit. Yankees losing today 6-4 to Oakland, snapping their 8-game winning streak. They'll go at it in Chicago next week. And Keel stays alive.
As we speak, the Boston Red Sox leading Baltimore up at Fenway, 3-0 that game in the bottom of the 2nd inning. And if they win, they'll go to within a game and a half of the Yankees.
Red Sox had lost 5 in a row.
Right.
And how about the Tampa Bay Rays were down 8-0, now leading 10-9 or won 10-9 over Toronto. Here's a base hit to left field. And going to third base will be Holiday, and Ankiel with his third straight hit of the game. Runners at first and third with 2 down and the 8-run deficit. Yeah, Tampa Bay has really turned things around dramatically, and as you mentioned, we were in St. Petersburg when the Rays played the Cleveland Indians, and Joe Madden never flinched. He never batted an eyelash. He just went about business as usual. And usually when you stay steady, you know, good things happen.
He's as steady as there are around.
Mark DeRosa with 2 hits and a walk today. And the Phillies looking for Steven Register to just end it. 0-1 the count to DeRosa. And a high pop fly. Jimmy Rollins backing up and makes the catch, and the game is over. And the Phillies defeat the Cardinals 14-6 as Jimmy Rollins hits a grand slam home run and drives in a career high 5 runs. We'll be back in just a moment.